After death, he was reborn into a fool. And he actually has 8 goddess-level sisters who are top in various industries. The eldest sister Bai Yunmeng is a well-known flight attendant. The second sister Qing Yuxuan is a world-famous singer. The third sister Chen Kasin is the chairman of the group with a net worth of 100 billion. The fourth sister Ouyang Wanner is a beautiful doctor in the Magic City Hospital who has saved countless people. The fifth sister Liu Feishue is the leader of the male soldiers in the special forces, with explosive combat power. The sixth sister Mu Ziying is a computer genius. She can hack into various websites. The seventh sister Yi Mori has a mysterious identity and no one knows what she is doing. The eighth sister Luo Qingwu is a genius student and a goddess at the Eagle Country University. Chapter 1, Reborn, and I have 8 sisters. In Magic City, there is a strange saying. A fool with 8 sisters who love him. This is probably one of the most well-known phrases in the entire city of Magic, the capital of Yanxia Country. There are many fools in Magic City, but the most famous, and the one who is the most thoroughly foolish, is Jiang Qianni. According to the locals, this guy is so foolish that it's in his bones, often doing ridiculous things that make people laugh and cry. Especially the young masters of the prominent families, who mock and ridicule Jiang Qianni at every turn. The reason for this is simple: envy, jealousy, and hatred. Although Jiang Qianni is a fool, he has 8 sisters who dote on him. These 8 sisters are all stunningly beautiful, and although they have no blood relation to him, they care for him more than their own siblings. Why? No one knows. Perhaps it's because they pity him, or perhaps for some other reason. In any case, if it weren't for the care of his sisters over the years, Jiang Qianni would probably have been long gone by now. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Jiang Qianni squinted at the mirror on the shelf in front of him. Since getting up in the morning, he had been maintaining this position for 3 or 4 hours straight. Look, this guy looks like he's lost his mind again. Staring at the mirror as if he could see a flower blooming. You don't understand. He is practicing his skills, you know. He tilde. Hearing this, the servants and maids nearby cast disdainful looks, though most were mocking him. This villa was the home of Jiang Qianni's third sister, Chen Kasin. These people couldn't understand why the famous chairwoman of the Magic City Dingxing group would accept a fool as her brother. But although Jiang Qianni had his back to them at the moment, he could clearly hear every word and movement they made. He was actually Jiang Qianni. He was Ashura, a warrior from a post-apocalyptic world. Not long ago, he had fought for 2 days and nights in a high-intensity battle with alien beasts. He finally succumbed to exhaustion and died. However, his soul unexpectedly reincarnated into the body of this fool. The reason he was sitting cross-legged for so long was because his soul hadn't fully returned to its rightful place. But now, it was almost complete. The clearest memory in this body's original owner was of the 8 stunningly beautiful sisters, each a top expert in their field. First sister, Bai Yunmeng, the most famous and beautiful flight attendant in international aviation, always flying around, so Jiang Qianni rarely saw her. Second sister, Qing Yuxuan, a world-class singer, fluent in multiple languages, and has held concerts worldwide. Third sister, Chen Kasin, the chairwoman of Dingxing Group, with a net worth nearing billions, wealthy enough to rival a nation. Fourth sister, Ouyang Wanner, the most renowned beautiful doctor in Magic City's hospital, skilled in medicine, and has saved countless lives. Fifth sister, Liu Bingyang, the female leader of the male special forces in Yanxia, with extensive combat experience, strong in both martial skills and beauty. Sixth sister, Mu Ziying, a computer genius, there's a saying in Magic City, there's south no place that can't be accessed by a plane, and no website Ziying can't hack into. Seventh sister, Yi Moyi, the most mysterious of them all. No one knows her whereabouts or what she does unless she appears herself. Eighth sister, Luo Qingwu, a second-year student at Eagle Country University, the goddess-like campus belle. It's true that sometimes fools have their blessings. 8 sisters, each incredibly talented and beautiful. Though they share no blood relation, they care for him more than anything. Then from now on, let me protect these sisters. Jiang Qianni muttered to himself, eyes closed. Qianni? Are you awake? At that moment, the sound of high heels approached, and with it, a sweet, gentle, and soothing voice. Soon, a young woman walked into Jiang Qianni's room. She was around 26 or 27 years old, in the prime of youth. She possessed the beauty that could make fish sink and birds fall, her beauty unparalleled, and with a unique, noble elegance that made her resemble a fairy descending to the mortal world, someone unreachable, like a goddess. Third sister. Jiang Qianyi turned around and smiled foolishly. This was Chen Kasin, his third sister, the chairwoman of Dingxing Group, with a net worth approaching 1,000 billion, undoubtedly a remarkable woman. You're awake. Come downstairs for breakfast. Fourth sister has invited a divine doctor to see if he can cure your illness. The cold, noble chairwoman of Dingxing Group became so gentle and affectionate in front of Jiang Qianyi. If her employees saw this, they would certainly shout, impossible. For years, they had spent countless amounts of money, visiting countless famous doctors, but the result was always the same. Can't be cured. Although Ouyang Wan'er was also a doctor, she was helpless in the face of Jiang Qianyi's congenital stupidity. But even so, they never gave up, always hoping that one day, they would find a cure for their brother's condition. And now? Just now, Ouyang Wan'er had brought a so-called immortal in medicine to try. Regardless of whether this person could actually cure him, at least the title of immortal in medicine sounded impressive. Based on what everyone had heard, this person's medical skills were exceptional, capable of curing various diseases. So, with a hopeful attitude, Ouyang Wan'er had brought him over. Divine doctor. Not meeting him. I'm not sick. Jiang Qianyi shook his head like a rattled drum. As a battle-hardened warrior from the post-apocalyptic world, not only did he possess incredible combat abilities, but he also had advanced medical skills. After being injured by alien beasts, he knew how to treat himself and couldn't allow himself to die on the battlefield. So Jiang Qianyi could clearly understand his own physical condition. He was perfectly fine. But to Chen Kasin, his actions seemed like more foolishness. She placed her hands on his shoulders and said, Qianyi, your sisters will do everything we can to help you, but you shouldn't give up either. Listen to me, go downstairs and see the doctor, okay? Chen Kasin's eyes reddened, and this was no act. It came from her heart. Seeing her foolish brother in front of her, she only felt powerless. Despite their fame, wealth, and countless assets, they still couldn't cure their brother's illness. Third sister, I really am fine. Jiang Qianyi continued, you all go ahead, I'll be down in a bit. All right then. Chen Kasin sighed helplessly, we'll wait for you downstairs. Don't take too long. With that, she stood up and left the room, intending to discuss with Ouyang Wan'er. Today, no matter what, Jiang Qianyi had to meet this immortal in medicine. Whether or not he could be cured was secondary, they had to try. For Jiang Qianyi, and for the promise made many years ago, no matter how difficult, they would give it a shot. Chapter 2, As long as you obey, I'll sleep with you tonight, little brother. After Chen Kasin left, Jiang Qianyi closed the door behind him. He then sat down cross-legged on the bed again to meditate. Although his soul had fully returned to its place, his strength had dropped significantly. The martial arts world was divided into 6 stages. Initial stage, yellow stage, mysterious stage, earth stage, heaven stage, and immortal stage. Each stage was further divided into 3 periods, early, mid, and late. For example, a martial artist in the initial stage could be at the early, mid, or late phase, and their power would vary significantly depending on their progression within the stage. Before his rebirth, Jiang Qianyi had reached the late earth stage and was close to advancing into the early heaven stage. However, after the traumatic event that led to his rebirth, combined with the weakness of his current body, he couldn't withstand the powerful aura of the late earth stage. As a result, most of his strength had been depleted, and now he was barely a late yellow stage martial artist. His current task was to adjust himself as much as possible. Although it was impossible to return to his peak in a short time, he would do everything in his power to restore his strength. Meanwhile, in the living room downstairs, Chen Kasin had already sat at the dining table. In addition to her, 3 others were having lunch. One of them, like Chen Kasin, was both beautiful and elegant. This was Jiang Qianyi's 4th sister, Shangguan Wan'er. The other 2 were the so-called medical immortal, Wang Guoshui, and his apprentice, Xie Feng. Wang Guoshui was polite and ate in a dignified manner, worthy of the reverence others held for him. However, Xie Feng was a different story. Having spent many years with Wang Guoshui in the mountains studying medicine, he rarely had the chance to taste such delicious food. At that moment, he was devouring it hungrily, as though he hadn't eaten in days. He even wished he had more hands. Of course, aside from his mouth and hands, Xie Feng's eyes weren't idle either. He couldn't stop sneaking glances at Shangguan Wan'er. She was too beautiful. He had never seen anyone so stunning, with such an elegant demeanor. Third sister, didn't Jenny come down with you? Shangguan Wanner asked, noticing that Chen Kasin had come down alone, a little puzzled. Her thoughts had been solely on Jiang Qianni, and she hadn't noticed Xie Feng's lustful gaze. No, Qianni says he has no illness and refuses to come down, Chen Kasin replied. What should we do? Shangguan Wanner frowned, looking anxious. Master Wang has been waiting here for a long time. Well, should we ask Master Wang to go to Qianni's room and check on him? Chen Kasin suggested, glancing at Wang Guoshui, who had been meditating with his eyes closed, clearly seeking his opinion. All right, Wang Guoshui said with a gentlemanly smile, putting down his chopsticks. Since Miss Chen has asked, I certainly can't refuse. He stood up, angrily patting Xie Feng on the shoulder. He was regretting taking this lazy apprentice. After so many years of studying together, Xie Feng hadn't improved at all. The way he ate just now was a disgrace. Then, Master Wang, please go up and take a look, Shangguan Wanner said with a smile. She and Chen Kasin both stood up, and the four of them headed upstairs to Jiang Qianni's room. In Jiang Qianni's room. Qianni, guess who I brought with me? Shangguan Wanner said, sitting beside Jiang Qianni with a gentle smile, her voice soft and soothing. I told you, I'm not sick. Please tell the doctor to leave. Jiang Qianni remained sitting cross-legged, his eyes still closed. Qianni, fourth sister worked so hard to invite him here. Can't you at least let him take a look? Shangguan Wanner persisted. If you behave, fourth sister will sleep with you tonight. Jiang Qianni often felt afraid at night because of his mental condition, so he loved having his sisters accompany him while he slept. But they were all adults, and there were boundaries, especially since Shangguan Wanner was his sister. Nevertheless, to prevent further trouble from Jiang Qianni, she decided to make this promise. Har. As she spoke, Jiang Qianni slowly adjusted his breath, closing his eyes and meditating. After a while, he finally opened them. Are you serious? Of course. If you behave, fourth sister will definitely sleep with you tonight and keep you from being scared. Shangguan Wanner stared into his eyes with a soft, pleading look. At this moment, Jiang Qianni wasn't as foolish as before. A beautiful woman offering to sleep with him? Just the thought made him feel elated. But as he thought about it, he also felt guilty. Even though they weren't biologically related, she was still his sister, and this felt a bit wrong. Eh? What's wrong with you? Shangguan Wanner frowned, noticing a strange look in Jiang Qianni's eyes. Something about him felt different. No, nothing. Jiang Qianni quickly turned his gaze and looked at Wang Guoshui. Master Wang, please check me. What illness do I have? All right. Wang Guoshui nodded, stepping forward and taking Jiang Qianni's pulse, beginning a careful diagnosis. Master Wang, can my brother's illness be treated? Shangguan Wanner eagerly asked. Your brother doesn't seem to have any major issues. His pulse is fine, it's just a little fast, Wang Guoshui said, puzzled. He couldn't detect any signs of mental issues or damage. This man seemed normal, he shouldn't be a fool. I told you, I'm fine. But you didn't believe me. Jiang Qianni chuckled, feeling rather proud. As for why his heart rate was elevated, only he knew. Having such a beautiful woman say she would sleep with him made his heart race. But. Chen Kasin bit her lip, asking Wang Guoshui, Master Wang, are you sure? Is my brother really okay? Absolutely sure, Wang Guoshui replied confidently. Based on his pulse, there's no way he's a fool. Unless. He hesitated. Unless what? Please, tell us. Chen Kasin urged. Unless he has been possessed. Possessed? Chen Kasin widened her eyes, looking at Wang Guoshui in disbelief. Is that really possible? Of course, anything is possible in this world. But. Wang Guoshui began to explain, but before he could finish, Jiang Qianni couldn't hold back his laughter. Har har har. Jiang Qianni laughed loudly. Qianni, stop joking around. Listen to Master Wang, Shangguan Wanner scolded, frowning. How could someone at a physician level believe in such superstitions? It's just laughable. Jiang Qianni ignored her completely. From the way Wang Guoshui had taken his pulse, he could tell that this so-called medical immortal was only at the physician level. The medical world was divided into 5 levels. Healer, physician, medical saint, medical immortal, and saintly doctor. As a medical immortal, Jiang Qianni was far superior to Wang Guoshui. However, in an era when traditional Chinese medicine had declined, even a mere physician level was hard to find. Jiang Qianni felt disappointed. How could someone like him believe in these superstitions? Jiang Qianni, stop speaking? Chen Kexin frowned, her voice tinged with anger. Wang Guoshui was a highly respected figure, and Jiang Qianni mocking him was unacceptable. However, to her surprise, Wang Guoshui didn't seem angry at all. In fact, he appeared quite surprised and even showed signs of respect. What kind of person are you? Wang Guoshui asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Chapter 3, Has my brother really recovered? I'm Jiang Qianni, the biggest fool in the magic city of Yanxia. Jiang Qianni smiled meaningfully. Mr. Jiang, you must be joking. Wang Guoshui clasped his hands and bowed respectfully to Jiang Qianni. Upon seeing this scene, not only did Chen Kexin and Shangguan Wan'er exchange confused glances, but even Xie Feng couldn't help but find it unbelievable. Master Wang Guoshui, a highly respected figure in the medical world, was actually showing such respect to a fool. If this got out, it would surely become the headline of tomorrow's Magic City news. But the reason behind this, only Wang Guoshui knew. The young man before him was no fool. He was an expert, an absolute expert. In today's society, traditional Chinese medicine TCM had severely declined. Even within TCM families, most people only understood the surface of the practice and were far from entering the true medical realm. Very few knew the levels of the medical path. The person in front of him, however, not only understood the different levels of medical practice, but Wang Guoshui could even sense his own medical level. Thus, Wang Guoshui had already made a preliminary judgment. This person's medical skills were definitely above his own, at least at the level of a medical sage. What shocked him even more was that such a skilled practitioner was just a young man in his 20s and, surprisingly, he was known throughout the Magic City as a fool. Master Wang, are you staying here because you want me to invite you to dinner? Jiang Qianni wasn't surprised at all. If Wang Guoshui couldn't sense this, then the title of medical immortal would be an insult. No. My apologies. We will take our leave now. Sorry for the disturbance. Wang Guoshui quickly said, nodding at Chen Kexin and Shangguan Wan'er, before pulling the bewildered Xie Feng out of the room. Master, are you okay today? As soon as they reached the gate, Xie Feng couldn't help but ask. I'm fine. I'm completely clear-headed, Wang Guoshui replied. Then why were you so polite to that fool? You've never been this polite even to the leaders of Yanxia. Fool. Did he seem like a fool to you when he was speaking just now? Wang Guoshui turned around and asked Xie Feng. Huh? Now that you mention it, he really didn't seem like one. In fact, I could sense an unparalleled aura from him. Exactly. Wang Guoshui nodded. He is an expert, his medical level is definitely above mine. But why would someone like him be willing to live as a fool in Magic City? There must be a reason. Ding 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 tilde. Just as Wang Guoshui finished speaking, his phone began to vibrate in his pocket. Looking at the caller ID, Wang Guoshui smiled. Looks like the Su family can't wait any longer. Let us go over quickly. Yes, master. Xie Feng nodded, and the two disappeared in front of Chen Kexin's house. Third sis, could you stop looking at me like that? I'm nervous. After Wang Guoshui left, Chen Kexin and Shangguan Wan'er had been staring at Jiang Qianni. Even with his thick skin, Jiang Qianni was beginning to feel a little embarrassed. But Shangguan Wan'er completely ignored Jiang Qianni, her arms crossed over her chest as she continued to stare at him. Third sis, don't you feel like something is different about our brother today? I've felt it for a while now. Something is strange and mysterious today. Even Master Wang Guoshui showed him so much respect. Could it be, he really has recovered? Shangguan Wan'er's eyes lit up, and she leaned closer in disbelief. She carefully observed Jiang Qianni sitting on the bed and asked, slightly surprised, Qianni, are you really all right now? I've been telling you for so long that I'm fine. Jiang Qianni, a little impatient, said, I'm perfectly healthy now, and my mind is very clear. How many fingers am I holding up? Shangguan Wan'er made a thumbs-up gesture. 2. What is your name? Jiang Qianni. What do you do? The most famous beautiful doctor in Magic City Hospital. He answered all the questions fluently. Shangguan Wanner was so excited that tears immediately started to fall. Wish Tilder. She rushed forward and hugged Jiang Qianni. Fourth sis is so happy, thank the heavens. You're really better now. Qianni, this is really wonderful. Our family can finally live a good life. Chen Kesin also hugged him, her eyes glistening with tears, just like Shangguan Wanner. For nearly 20 years, from childhood to adolescence, they had endured countless cold stares and mockery from others, and had been bullied because of their brother's condition. They didn't know how many times they had tried and failed in seeking treatment for him. But now, it was all over. All the frustration and emotions they had bottled up for so long poured out in that moment. Looking at the two sisters in front of him, tears streaming down their faces, Jiang Qianni felt so lucky and happy. He gently patted their soft long hair and spoke tenderly, "Sisters, you've endured for nearly 20 years. From now on, let me protect you both." Thus, the three of them hugged for a long time, unwilling to let go. Shangguan Wanner and Chen Kesin were too excited, too happy. Their brother was finally better. It was more important than anything else. Meanwhile, Jiang Qianni was quietly comforting them, while in his mind, he was trying to dig up the remaining fragments of his memories. Third sis, fourth sis, do you know anything about my parents? Suddenly, Jiang Qianni asked Chen Kesin and Shangguan Wanner. Upon hearing this, they immediately broke free from his embrace and exchanged a glance. "Qianni, you're an orphan. We don't know who your parents are," they said. "I'm an orphan. But I have memories of my parents, and it seems I also remember playing with you and them when I was young. You must know them." Jiang Qianni furrowed his brow, looking puzzled. These memories were very vague, and because they were from such a long time ago, he couldn't be sure if they were real. This. Chen Kesin and Shangguan Wanner exchanged looks of shock. They hadn't expected that even though Jiang Qianni had never been mentally sharp, he actually remembered things from his childhood. But they had made a promise a long time ago that this secret should never be told to Jiang Qianni. "Quickly tell me, who are my parents? Are they still alive?" Seeing their expression, Jiang Qianni was more certain than ever that they knew about his parents, and the memories in his mind were real. "We really don't know. We've always grown up in an orphanage. How could we know who your parents are?" Chen Kesin stubbornly denied. "Orphanage? Which one?" "It's the Yijian Love Orphanage." Yijian. Jiang Qianni furrowed his brow. He did stay in that orphanage for a few years with his sisters. Could it be that they were telling the truth? Then why did he have memories of playing with his parents and sisters? Was it an illusion? Jiang Qianni's mind was filled with questions, but he couldn't shake the feeling that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Chairman, something's wrong." At that awkward moment, a servant rushed in, flustered. "What happened?" Chen Kesin stood up, wiping away a tear from her eye, and regained her usual cold demeanor. "Song Qianhao, he's here again." Chapter for Song Qianhao. Song Qianhao. Upon hearing this name, Chen Kesin's brows immediately locked together. "Chairman, what should we do? They brought a lot of people here today. Should we tell Miss Liu?" The servant was very panicked. He knew very well who Song Qianhao was. "Okay, go tell Fei Shua right away. I hope she can come back as soon as possible," Chen Kesin said, and then looked at Shangguan Wanner, who was also very nervous. "Wanner, take good care of your brother. I'll go down and take a look. Third sister, you must be careful. Qianni and I will be waiting for you to come back. Don't worry, I will be fine." Chen Kesin nodded, turned around and walked out of Jiang Qianni's room. Song Qianhao, this person is still very deep in Jiang Qianni's memory. He is the eldest son of the Song family in Magic City. The Song family is a first-rate family in Shanghai, almost monopolizing every industry, with assets of over 100 billion and extremely powerful strength. This guy has been pursuing his third and fourth sisters for a long time, and he harasses them from time to time. However, due to the strength of the fifth sister Liu Feishua, he never dared to go too far. But even so, he caused a lot of trouble to Chen Kesin and the others. However, just 2 days ago, this guy actually threatened that if Chen Kesin did not agree to his words within 3 days, the Song family would acquire Dingxing Group and Chen Kesin would be left with nothing. Counting the days, today should be the 3rd day. But Jiang Qianni was a little confused. Why did this guy suddenly not be afraid of his fifth sister? You must know that the fifth sister Liu Feishue is the leader and instructor of the most powerful Yanlong special forces in Yinxia country. Her strength is not comparable to those bodyguards of the Song family. Fourth sister, let's go down and take a look, okay? Jiang Qianyi looked at Shang Guanwana and said. If Chen Kexin continues like this, she will not be able to resist whatever Song Qianhao wants to do. Well, okay then. Shang Guanwana thought about it and finally agreed. Her mentality was similar to Jiang Qianyi's. She was very worried about Chen Kexin's safety. At this time, the whole of the villa was already filled with Song family bodyguards. These people were all wearing black suits and black sunglasses. They were tall and mighty, with ferocious looks on their faces. There were as many as 20 of them. Standing in front of them was a big man in a suit and tie. He is Song Qianhao. He looks like a decent person from the outside, but inside, he is a complete bastard. Everyone in Shanghai knows that among the 3 most dissolute playboys in Shanghai, he is definitely ranked first. Next to Song Qianhao stood a short and thin middle-aged man wearing sportswear. This man wears glasses and looks like a thin scholar, but the pressure he brings to others is even greater than that of Song Qianhao. Compared with them, Chen Kexin's side is much weaker. There were only 5 bodyguards in the entire villa, and they had already been knocked to the ground. The rest were all servants and had no fighting power at all. Chairman Chen. The 3-day deadline has expired. What are your thoughts? Song Qianhao spoke first, with an evil smile on his face. What are you considering? I've already said it's impossible. Chen Kexin said in a firm tone. Impossible? Then don't blame me. What are you up to? Acquire Dingxing Group, and then let the Magic City Hospital dismiss Ouyang Wanner, leaving you with nothing. Finally Tilder force her on you. Har har Tilder, Song Qianhao said, laughing shamelessly. Aren't you afraid that Feishue will come after you to settle the score? Just a bunch of you, a bunch of rabble, I'm afraid you are no match for her. Chen Kexin threatened. Liu Feishue had taught them a lesson personally before. Har 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 Tilder unexpectedly, after hearing what Chen Kexin said, Song Qianhao was not afraid at all. Instead, he laughed even louder. Chen Kexin, if I were afraid of Liu Feishue, would I still be standing here today? You can just let her come. Brother can have another beautiful woman in his bed tonight. You are shameless. Chen Kexin was forced into the state where he didn't know what to say and could only curse. I never thought of myself as a good person. Song Qianhao said shamelessly. Par. As soon as Song Qianhao finished speaking, applause came from the stairwell. Then Jiang Qianyi and Ouyang Wanner walked down one after another. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen someone as shameless as you. I've really broadened my horizons today. Jiang Qianyi said as he walked. Hey, isn't he this our big fool of Modu? If you talk to me like that, be careful of your brother spanking your little butt. Seeing Jiang Qianyi, Song Qianhao laughed so hard that his mouth couldn't close. The bodyguards behind him also laughed so hard after hearing what he said. Ridicule, humiliation. But Jiang Qianyi ignored him and continued, promise me that you won't bother my sisters again, and I'll let you go. Wahar ha ha Tilder. After hearing Jiang Qianyi's words, Song Qianhao laughed so hard that he almost fell to the ground. He said, let me go. Har har har, this really made me laugh to death. My stomach hurts, har 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 Tilder. Why? Was what I said funny? After hearing this, Song Qianhao also stopped laughing, pointed at Jiang Qianyi and said, I'm telling you, I don't like to argue with fools, get out of here quickly, or I'll let you know what pain is. Qianyi, listen to your third sister and go back first, okay? It's very dangerous here. After hearing what Song Qianhao said, Chen Kexin also walked up and said to Jiang Qianyi. She was very pleased that Jiang Qianyi took the initiative to step forward, but in this matter, he could not help in any way except getting himself involved. That's right, Qianyi, you go back to your room first. Fourth sister is here to help third sister. Shangguan Wana also echoed. Okay then. Jiang Qianyi agreed, sat down on the sofa in the living room, crossed his legs, as if watching a play. Tsk Tilder, Song Qianhao sneered disdainfully. A fool is a fool and will never be normal. So he waved his hand and said, come on, invite Miss Wanner and Miss Chen back home. Yes. The bodyguards behind him answered respectfully and were about to step forward to kidnap the man. Swish, swish, swish Tilder. Bang, bang, bang Tilder. Just when they were about to touch Chen Kexin and Shangguan Wanner, they heard several sounds of being hit. Then, the 4 burly men were all knocked to the ground, with a big bruise on their foreheads. What's going on? What hit you? Song Chin-hao found this scene very unbelievable, as if it was haunted. He didn't know what hit them, and these people were knocked to the ground. Young master, look. This should be it. At this time, a bodyguard behind him pointed to a yellow bean on the ground and said to him. When Song Chin-hao saw it, he squatted down and picked it up, and instantly screamed in surprise. Huh! Chocolate beans. Chapter 5. The fifth sister arrives. Song Chin-hao looked in disbelief at the yellow-skinned chocolate bin in front of him, which was only 1 centimeter in diameter. He didn't understand how such a small thing could be so lethal. It could actually knock a 170-180 kilograms man to the ground. Looking around, Song Chin-hao felt that the only person who could do this was Jiang Qianyi. But how could this fool be so powerful? I wouldn't believe it even if I killed him. Of course, except for him, everyone present was so incredible. Especially Chen Kasin and Ouyang Wana, they also looked at Jiang Qianyi on the sofa, because this chocolate was his favorite. But like Song Chin-hao, they also didn't believe that this was made by Jiang Qianyi. The young man next to Song Chin-hao also frowned slightly, but did not make any move. Come on again. Song Chin-hao waved his hand again, and 4 big men came out behind him. But the ending is the same as before. Their hands were about to touch Chen Kasin. Then there were several bang 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 sounds. Then all 4 of them were knocked to the ground screaming. What hurt them was still the colorful chocolate beans. It was as if there was a barrier around Chen Kasin and Ouyang Wana, and they would be hit as soon as they came over. More than 20 Song family bodyguards looked at each other, and no one dared to take another step forward. It's delicious. This chocolate is so sweet and fragrant. At this time, Jiang Qianyi's extremely enjoyable voice reached everyone's ears. He had an extra bag of chocolate beans in his hand than before, and was lying on the sofa, eating them leisurely. Jiang Qianyi, did you do this? Song Chin-hao walked up to Jiang Qianyi angrily, not caring whether he was a fool or not. Everything that had just happened, all the accusations pointed out that it was Jiang Qianyi who did it. No. Jiang Qianyi shook his head like a rattle. How can I do that? My 5th sister is here. Liu Feishue? It's indeed her. I was wondering how a fool like you could become so powerful. Song Chin-hao said disdainfully, not caring at all how Jiang Qianyi knew that Liu Feishue had arrived. Wait until Song Chin-hao walks back. Liu Feishue just walked in from the door. She was wearing a tight camouflage uniform, which showed off her almost perfect figure very well. She was wearing a pair of military combat boots, and her long black hair was neatly combed behind her with a rubber band. She was so beautiful that it was breathtaking. Looking at the miserable appearance of the Song family's men, Liu Feishue was very puzzled. What happened just now? Who beat them into this state? Liu Feishue, you are playing dirty with me now, right? How did you hit my people? I will get back at you 100-fold in a moment. After hearing what Song Chin-hao said, Liu Feishue became even more confused. She had just arrived, so how could she have the time to teach his men a lesson? But now, she doesn't have time to think about these things. She can't lose her momentum. Song Chin-hao, I think the lesson I gave you last time wasn't enough. Are you itching for trouble again today? Har tilde, I don't know who will teach whom a lesson today. Song Chin-hao laughed disdainfully. It just so happens that everyone is here today, so I can have a good time tonight. You're looking for a fight. What Liu Feishue hated most in her life was being insulted by someone, but there were always people who did that. As an instructor of the strongest special forces in Yanxia country, her strength had reached the realm of martial arts. Although it was only in the early stages, compared to these mortals, it was the difference between heaven and hell. So Liu Feishue didn't say anything and just swung his fist and went up. The bodyguards of the Song family were like ants and were no match to her at all. Liu Feishue kept flashing in the crowd. As soon as she made a move, 1 or 2 people would fly out of the battle circle. In just 1 minute, nearly half of the people were lying on the ground, holding their stomachs and groaning in pain. The remaining few people all stared at her with eager eyes, and no one dared to rush forward. How could this person be a human? She was a female ghost. Whether it was speed or strength, it was beyond their comprehension. Par tilde. At this moment, applause broke out again in the hall. But this time it was not Jiang Qianyi, but the middle-aged man who had been standing next to Song Chin-hao. His name is Lu Kuei. From the beginning, he was like a wooden man, standing there without saying a word or even making the slightest movement, so that everyone had ignored his existence. Of course, except for Jiang Qianni, who was watching the show not far away. Although he didn't know where this guy came from, Jiang Qianni felt his aura as soon as he went downstairs, so he concluded that although this guy was the most inconspicuous, he should be the biggest threat. Miss Liu is really good at martial arts, Liu Kuei said with a fake smile. As a martial arts practitioner, it would be too boring for you to fight against such a mob. Do you want me to practice with you? You are also a martial arts practitioner. Liu Feishue frowned. She had just entered the martial arts realm. If this guy was also a martial arts practitioner, wouldn't her chances of winning be very slim? I don't know, maybe. Liu Kuei smiled and did not directly answer Liu Feishue's question, but the implication was already very clear. The two of them just stared at each other. Not long after, Liu Feishue shouted loudly, clenched his right fist, gathered all his strength, and rushed towards Liu Kuei. She didn't care how strong the opponent was, she only knew that she had her brothers and sisters behind her, and as long as she was still alive, she couldn't let them get hurt in the slightest. You are overestimating your own abilities, Liu Kuei muttered with disdain. Although Liu Feishue's speed was as fast as lightning in the eyes of others, in his opinion, it was not much faster than a snail. Liu Kuei accidentally punched Liu Feishue. Bang tilde. With the violent collision of the two forces, a loud noise was heard, and then Liu Feishue took a few steps back in pain, with a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. However, the injury was not too serious, mainly because Liu Kuei did not use his full strength and only used about 20% of his strength. At the early stage of the yellow rank, she is indeed much stronger than the fifth sister. However, she is still too weak. Jiang Qianni, who was not far away, looked at this scene and muttered with disdain. Then he took out a few chocolate beans from the bag, threw them into his mouth and started chewing. You have already made all your moves, now it's my turn. Let's see if you can take it. Liu Kuei clenched his fists, and an even more powerful aura burst out from his body. He dodged the ground and attacked Liu Feishue. Everyone can feel it. The force of Liu Kuei's attack was many times greater than the previous one. He was very fast and Liu Feishue had no chance to dodge. She could only try her best to resist. But she knew that this would have no effect. If Liu Kuei punched her, she would be seriously injured if not dead. So she simply closed her eyes and waited for the judgment of the god of death. No. Chen Kasin and Ouyang Wana also screamed at this time, tears welling up in their eyes. They knew very well what the consequences would be for Liu Feishue if they received this punch. However, it's the same as before. When Liu Kuei's fist was about to reach Liu Feishue, he suddenly seemed to be possessed by an evil spirit. Their whole body stopped in the air, his eyes were wide open, his face was red, and then he fell straight down from the air, holding his stomach and screaming like a pig being slaughtered. Chapter 6 Brother, you have really changed. Ouch tilde. It hurts so much tilde. Ouch tilde. Liu Kuei was lying on the ground and rolling over and over as if she was about to give birth. She looked much more embarrassed and miserable than those Song family bodyguards. This. Liu Feishue and Chen Kasin also opened their eyes and looked at the scene in front of them. They were all very surprised. Shouldn't the person lying on the ground now be Liu Feishue? How did it become Liu Kuei? What happened? Is there really a god helping them? After rolling around for a while, Liu Kuei's pain was slightly relieved, but he was already sweating profusely, which showed how much pain he was in. With the help of Song Qianhao, he stood up little by little. Brother Kuei, what happened to you just now? Why did you fall down suddenly? Song Qianhao asked in confusion. Something hit me just now, and it hit me right in the middle of my Danqianqi gate, so this happened. There's something? What is it? I don't know either, but it doesn't feel very big, like some hidden weapon. As Liu Kuei spoke, he began to look around. Sure enough, he found a red ball near where he had just fallen. Chocolate beans again. Liu Kuei screamed in disbelief after seeing this. This chocolate bean was exactly the same as the ones that were used to hit the Song family bodyguards before, except for the color. Suddenly, Liu Kuei nodded slightly and looked at Jiang Qianni, who was sitting on the sofa, and Jiang Qianni happened to be looking at him at this time. Hello, how are you? Jiang Qianni waved at him with a smile, then took out a chocolate bean and threw it directly into his mouth. Seeing this scene, Liu Kuei was so angry that he could not contain himself. Just now, he was caught by this guy because he was not paying attention. Not only was the pain worse than death, but he was also laughed at by him. Lu Kuei has never been so embarrassed in his life. You're looking for death. Lu Kuei clenched his fists and rushed towards Jiang Qianni in the blink of an eye before anyone else could react. This was a complete killing move, and as long as it hit, Jiang Qianni would definitely die. No. The three Chen Kasin sisters, whose mood had just eased a little, looked at Lu Kuei's actions and shouted in despair again. Lu Kuei's movements were too fast, even a master like Liu Feishue had no way to stop him. HMPH tilde, Jiang Qianni just curled his lips and smiled, with no intention of dodging at all. A warrior in the early yellow stage is nothing to be afraid of. In his eyes, Lu Kuei is not much better than Song Qianhao's bodyguards. Lu Kuei is full of confidence and murderous intent. When he was about to touch Jiang Qianni, the confidence and murderous intent on his face disappeared instantly. The expression on his face was surprise, disbelief, and fear. Because of the powerful martial arts aura erupting from Jiang Qianni's body, Lu Kuei could clearly feel that such a powerful aura was by no means comparable to him. The other party was at least a late yellow level, or even a black level warrior. But now the arrow is on the string. Jiang Qianni has already thrown a punch, although it seems casual, but it has blocked all possible routes of Lu Kuei's retreat. If Lu Kuei chooses to stop and run away at this time, Jiang Qianni's punch will hit him. The only thing he could do now was to try his best to resist Jiang Qianni's attack and try to avoid getting hurt as much as possible. Boom tilde. With a deafening roar, Lu Kuei and Jiang Qianni faced each other with their fists. But at the moment of contact, Lu Kuei flew backwards like a kite with a broken string, and hit the wall behind him heavily. A mouthful of blood spurted out. The elbow of the arm that had touched Jiang Qianni was also broken due to the huge impact force. The white bones mixed with blood were exposed in the air, looking extremely terrifying and bloody. He struggled to get up from the ground with his other hand. Lu Kuei kowtowed to Yi Qing and said, "Senior, I was wrong. I didn't recognize the real master. Please spare my life." When facing the threat of death, even martial arts practitioners will be afraid. Lu Kuei, he never dreamed that he would end up in such an embarrassing state in front of a foolish young man. This. Looking at Jiang Qianni in front of her, Liu Feishue felt a little strange. Apart from Jiang Qianni and Lu Kuei, she was the only one who had entered the martial arts realm, so she could most clearly feel how powerful Jiang Qianni's punch was just now. Is this still the brother she knew, the one who was ridiculed by the world? Ignoring the surprise of others, Jiang Qianni slowly walked in front of Song Qianhao. "You, what are you going to do?" Finally, Song Qianhao felt the danger. The danger brought to him by this man known as the biggest fool in the Magic City. He finally began to panic. "I won't allow anyone to hurt my sister. Anyone who dares to disobey me will be killed." "No, you don't dare to kill me. I am the eldest son of the Song family. If you kill me, you will all die. It doesn't matter. If the Song family doesn't know what's happening, I'll make everyone in the Song family go to hell to accompany you." Jiang Qianni's tone was cold, like a demon who had just escaped from hell. Song Qianhao could clearly feel that the temperature around him had dropped suddenly. Looking at the miserable state of Lu Kuei on the ground, Song Qianhao felt that this guy could probably do what he said, and with his strength, it would be easy for him to destroy the Song family. "No. No. Don't kill me." Seeing Jiang Qianni walking towards him step by step, Song Qianhao was extremely frightened. His feet softened and he knelt down. "Please don't kill me. I will never dare to do that again. As long as you let me go, I will agree to anything you ask for. I'm sorry, I just want your life. Remember, anyone who touches my sister will be killed." Jiang Qianni was not moved at all by his plea for mercy. A sweeping kick accurately hit Song Qianhao's temple. He didn't even have time to scream before his life was gone. As for Lu Kuei, since he injured Liu Feishue, Jiang Qianni certainly wouldn't let him live. After killing the two of them, Jiang Qianni glanced at the stunned Song family bodyguards and said coldly, "Go back and tell the head of the Song family that the one who killed them was Jiang Qianni. If he doesn't know what's good for him, I will send him to see his son. Do you understand?" I understand. How could these people dare to hesitate for a moment? This Jiang Qianni was not a fool at all. He was clearly a devil who had just escaped from hell. "Why? You still want me to treat you to a meal?" Don't dare, the bodyguards said hurriedly, then dragged the bodies of Song Qianhao and Lu Kuei and staggered away. After they left, Jiang Qian's hostility immediately disappeared. He walked straight to Liu Feishue and tapped her body gently a few times. Liu Feishue immediately felt refreshed and the pain in her body disappeared instantly. Fifth sister, your injury wasn't serious to begin with, how do you feel now? Okay, much better. Liu Feishue nodded foolishly. Qiani? At this time, Chen Kexin called out Jiang Qian's name in a serious tone. What's wrong, third sister? Walking forward, Chen Kexin took his hand and said with a smile, Third sister, I don't know what happened, but your condition has improved this time, and you have really changed a lot. But Tilda, no matter what, you are still our brother, right? Chapter 7, it's a very happy thing to tease your sister when you have nothing to do. Third sister, don't worry, no matter what time it is, I will always be your brother. I said, I will protect you in the days ahead. I will never let you get hurt in the slightest. Qiani, you have really grown up. Third sister is so happy. Chen Kexin smiled with relief, with crystal tears sparkling in her eyes. You naughty little brother, you are finally well. From now on, the sisters don't have to worry about you anymore. Liu Feishue walked over and patted Jiang Qiani on the shoulder. She doesn't care where Jiang Qian's skills came from. She only cares about her younger brother. As long as he is safe and happy, as long as he is healthy and happy, that's enough. All right, it's a happy thing that Qiani has recovered from his illness, please stop being so jealous. Shangguan Wana clapped her hands and said mischievously, shouldn't we tell the other sisters about this? They will definitely jump for joy when they hear it. Oh no, I was just thinking about my own happiness. I'll call them right now. Chen Kexin slapped her head in self-blame, and then called the other sisters one by one. As expected, when the others heard the news, they were so happy that they almost jumped up from their stools. Eldest sister Bai Yunmeng cancelled all flights for the next few days, and even gave up the important task of serving the leaders of Dragon Country tomorrow, just to rush back to the Magic City as soon as possible to see if her brother is really okay. The second sister, Qing Yuxuan, even cancelled her concert in the capital the day after tomorrow and rushed to the Magic City without stopping. Although this would cause a lot of economic losses and loss of fans, she didn't care at all. As long as her brother was well, she would beg for food. Sixth sister Mu Ziying also put down her work and drove towards the Magic City. Even Luo Qingwu, the academic master, rushed out of the classroom during class and rushed from Eagle Country to the Magic City. Of course, except for Jiang Qian's seventh sister Yimori, her whereabouts are too secretive, and no one here can contact her. Everyone can only hope that she will suddenly appear one day and tell her the good news. I'm done with the call. I think they'll be here tonight. Chen Kexin walked in from outside holding the phone, jumping around, very lively and cute. If the employees of Dingxing Group saw this, they would probably be shocked. Great. Shangguan Wan laughed and clapped her hands. Let us go eat something first, and then we'll take Qiani out for a big dinner tonight. Then I can't eat too much now, otherwise I won't be able to eat at night. Jiang Qiani joked. Then they walked to the dining table together. Although Wang Guoshui and his friends had not eaten much of the meal they had just treated them to, it was still very sumptuous. Although Jiang Qiani said that he didn't eat too much, in fact, he almost finished all the dishes on the table. Looking at this animal that ate like a pig, Chen Kexin and the other two grinned in disbelief. Although they were very happy because this was the most delicious meal Jiang Qiani had had in the past 20 years, if this guy continued to eat like this, wouldn't he become as fat as a pig in a few days? Don't worry, sisters. Even if you become balls, I won't get fat. Jiang Qiani seemed to feel the strange looks from his sisters, wiped his mouth and joked. You are so annoying. When did we become a ball? Shangguan Wana pretended to be angry. No, it's just an analogy. Jiang Qiani smiled. This body was really too weak. He had to strengthen his physique, otherwise it would be impossible to improve his martial arts level. The easiest way to strengthen his physique was to eat. Separate tilde. Not long after, Jiang Qiani burped, leaned back in his chair and touched his stomach with satisfaction. The feeling of being full is comfortable. For these doomsday warriors, having a full stomach is a luxury. It is impossible to eat such delicious fish and meat. You are lucky to eat it raw. Ho! Leaning back in his chair, Jiang Qiani seemed to have suddenly thought of something, and looked straight at Ouyang Wana beside him. Fourth sister, do you remember what you just said? What did you say? What? You said that if I obeyed Master Wang and let him treat me, he would sleep with me at night. Does that still count now? This. Shangguanwana scratched her head, looking embarrassed. If it were before, she might have agreed after considering it, but her brother was not very smart at that time and didn't understand the difference between men and women. But now, Jiang Qianni is a completely normal man. The most important thing is that although they are as close as siblings, they are not real siblings. So Ouyangwana still had some resistance in her heart, but from childhood to adulthood, no matter what request her brother made, as long as it was not to pick the moon, everyone would try their best to satisfy him. So, Shangguanwana was really in a dilemma. Har tilde, Jiang Qianni couldn't help but burst out laughing at Shangguanwana's red face and her dilemma. What are you thinking about? Am I, Jiang Qianni, the kind of person who would take advantage of my sister? But, fourth sister, you are so cute when you are shy. It is a very happy thing to tease your sister when you have nothing to do, isn't it? You tilde brother, you are so annoying. You have become bad. Ouyangwana finally understood Jiang Qianni's real intention. It turned out that this guy was just having fun. She immediately raised her pink fist and punched him. Hee, I can't hit you. Jiang Qianni dodged Ouyangwana's attack easily with his waist flashed. You little brat, your fourth sister hit you, and you dare to run away. Why shouldn't I run? If I don't run, I'll get beaten. I'm not stupid. Lulu tilde, Jiang Qianni said, sticking out his tongue at her provocatively. Okay, I'll beat your little butt when I catch up with you. Ouyangwana rolled up her sleeves and chased after Jiang Qianni. Damn, she's so violent, I might not be able to get married. Jiang Qianni kept muttering as he ran. Even if you can't get married, I'll deal with you first today. Our tilde third sister, fifth sister, save me, someone's dying. Jiang Qianni shouted and chased Ouyangwana in the living room. Feishue, we really don't know how many years we have waited for this scene. Looking at the scene of the brother and sister playing in front of him, Chen Kexin was very pleased. Yes, being able to run around and play without any worries is what we all dream of, isn't it? It seems that our good days are really coming. I hope so. Liu Feishue nodded with a wry smile, feeling a little worried. She had a very bad feeling about this mission. I didn't even know if I could survive and continue to enjoy family happiness with my sisters and brother. But Chen Kexin was so happy that he didn't even notice that something was wrong with her. Chapter 8. The gifts from the sisters are all kinds of weird. Ouch tilde. Fourth sister, I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Let me go. Ouch tilde. In the end, Jiang Qianni was captured by Ouyangwana and beaten up on the sofa. Of course, it was just a joke. Ouyangwana was unwilling to use any strength, and Jiang Qianni's shouting was just random. Will you dare to mess with your fourth sister again? I don't dare, from now on you are my fourth aunt, okay? No. Am I that old? No, then I will call you the fourth daughter from now on. This makes me look younger. Get out. Ouyangwana yelled. How could this guy become so slick? She got angry and pinched Jiang Qianni's waist hard. Suddenly there was a scream like a pig being slaughtered. This time Jiang Qianni was not pretending, he was really in pain. Fourth sister, you will always be my fourth sister. Please spare my life, okay? That's better. After hearing this, Ouyangwana was willing to let him go. Jiang Qianni quickly got up from the sofa, rubbed the injured part of his waist, and muttered unhappily, this guy, it's all purple, how much do you hate me? It's purple. Does it hurt? After hearing this, Ouyangwana quickly turned around and walked back. Looking at the purple spot on his waist, she seemed to feel very guilty and reluctant. She didn't know why she used so much strength all of a sudden. How can it not hurt? You have to compensate me. How should I compensate you? Tell me. Ouyangwana really felt very sorry for him. She had never let her brother get hurt since he was a child. She didn't expect that she would accidentally make him like this today. Ouyangwana blamed herself very much. All right, I'm just kidding. This injury is nothing. Jiang Qianni waved his hand. He really couldn't bear to continue teasing. He was sure that no matter what request he made just now, the fourth sister would agree. With such a group of good sisters who loved him, Jiang Qianni felt that he really gained a lot. Jiang Qianni stretched lazily, said hello to his sisters and returned to his room. He locked the door and sat cross-legged on his bed. Let the true qi and dantian circulate through the body for several cycles, slowly allowing the body to adapt to the strength of the true qi. He found that he might never be able to regain the strength he had before his rebirth. If he wanted to continue to advance in martial arts, he could only rely on his own efforts and climb up step by step. Of course, this requires time and opportunity, and it cannot be achieved in a day or two, or a month or two. However, in this era, without those ferocious mutant beasts, human society is very stable, and the late yellow rank should be enough. Therefore, Jiang Qianni is not too anxious to be promoted, and if he is too anxious, it is likely to force the growth of seedlings and cause some irreversible damage to the body. Buzz tilde. Buzz tilde. Around 6 o'clock in the evening, the roar of car engines came from outside the villa. They are coming. Jiang Qianni slowly opened his eyes and looked out the window. There were 4 top-of-the-line luxury cars parked in front of the villa. His eldest sister, second sister, sixth sister, and even his 8th sister Luo Qingwu, all drove a global limited edition sports car worth at least hundreds of millions. The crowd passing by outside the villa were simply stunned. Not to mention that these cars were hard to see, the beauties coming out of them were even rarer in the world. Their skin is whiter than snow, their eyebrows are as beautiful as paintings, just like fairies descending from the earth, exuding a unique temperament of being pure and unworldly, and not caring about worldly things. People are fascinated by them, ashamed of themselves, and dare not blaspheme. However, their cold and arrogant agility is quite charming, which makes people unable to help but be fascinated. After seeing his sisters come in, Jiang Qianni quickly jumped off the bed, tidied his clothes and messy hair, and walked out of the room. This afternoon, Jiang Qianni had been practicing in his room, but Chen Kexin and the others were not idle. They decorated the villa and hung a large banner in the middle of the hall, which read, "Congratulations to my brother on his recovery." Flowers and balloons were also placed in other places, making it very beautiful and warm. "Brother, are you really okay? Brother, do you know who I am? Qianni, let big sister see it. Qianni, let me see, are you really okay?" As soon as the 4 sisters outside came in, they pounced on Jiang Qianni at the same time. Yu and I started asking questions one after another, chattering, which made Jiang Qianni a little annoyed. This is not the main point. The worst thing is that they would touch him from time to time, making Jiang Qianni always feel that they were petting a dog. "Okay, sisters, I'm really fine." Jiang Qianni twisted his body. "You are my eldest sister by Yun Meng, you are my second sister Qing Yuxuan, you are my 6th sister Mu Ziying, and you are my 8th sister Luo Qingwu, right? That's right. My brother is really fine now. Yeah, I'm so happy." Several sisters held hands and shouted happily in front of Jiang Qianni. Their brother's illness was cured. They had been waiting for this news for nearly 20 years. There was no news more beautiful than this. Hey, you guys didn't come here empty-handed, did you? Brother is here. As sisters, shouldn't we prepare some gifts? At this time, Chen Kexin, Ouyang Wana and Liu Feishue also came over. "Look at what you said. I have already prepared a gift for my brother." As Bai Yunmeng spoke, she took out a long box from her bag. This was a jade necklace. It looked very beautiful, but the shape of the jade was a little special. It was a hexagonal disc with an octagonal hollow in the middle. But no matter what, it could not conceal the preciousness of this necklace. Immediately after Bai Yunmeng, Qing Yuxuan also took out a gift from her bag. It was her latest limited edition album. There weren't many of them in the whole world because Jiang Qianni had always loved listening to her songs the most. Chen Kexin gave him a credit card from the Magic City Bank, which allowed him unlimited overdrafts in Yinxia. There were only a few of these cards in the entire Magic City. Ouyang Wana gave him a bouquet of beautiful flowers and a set of out-of-print men's skincare products. Liu Feishue gave him a pair of Yanlong Special Forces military boots and a pair of handsome black sunglasses. Mu Ziying gave him a USB flash drive. No matter what game he played, as long as he plugged in this USB flash drive, it would be like using a cheat, and the system would not be able to detect it. Luo Qingwu gave him a pair of cute rabbit ears. Looking at the various strange gifts in his hands, Jiang Qianni did not know whether to laugh or cry. How come all the plug-ins appeared? Sixth sister is indeed a computer expert. However, no matter how strange it is, what cannot be denied is that the sisters' love for Jiang Qianni has reached or even exceeded the level of relatives. Chapter 9: The Mostian Thing. Buzz Tilder. Accompanied by the roar of engines. 7 world-class rare luxury cars lined up in a long row and appeared on the streets of Shanghai at the same time. Pagani, Ferrari, Porsche, military Hummer and more. The luxurious fleet of cars simply blinded the titanium alloy eyes of the people around. I don't know how many people stopped to watch, and I don't know how many people took out their mobile phones to take pictures and videos. They even photoshopped the pictures to show off. The economy of Magic City is among the best in Yanxia country, so it is not surprising to see luxury cars worth tens of millions on the streets. But it is indeed rare to see so many luxury cars at the same time. The surrounding cars slowed down and gave way to them, fearing that they would get scratched. If they did, they would never be able to pay for it in their entire lives. Even the owners of Bentley and Rolls dare not steal the limelight. In front of these luxury cars, they are just younger brothers. Especially that military Hummer. Who knows who's in it? If they mess with the wrong person, their lives will be ruined. Soon, 7 luxury cars were parked neatly in front of a hotel called Qingyar Pavilion. If the car is a rare luxury car, then the beauty walking out of the car is even rarer. Jiang Qian's sisters are all 1 in a million, stunningly beautiful, and any one of them can beat all the popular stars. Standing among the sisters, Jiang Qian had no idea how many envious and jealous looks he had attracted. He had no idea how many times his ancestors had been greeted by the animals around him. Let's do it here. What do you think, brother? Looking at Jiang Qian, the 6th sister Mu Ziying asked first. Sure, I'll let my sisters spend the money. What are you talking about? Why are you being so polite to your sister? Shangguan rolled her eyes at him and said in pretended anger. That's right, if you want anything in the future, just tell your sisters. Bai Yunmeng also echoed. Then several people walked in side by side. Feeling the strange looks from the people around him, Jiang Qian unconsciously straightened his chest and raised his head, feeling very proud. Looking around the world, there are really not many people who can enjoy this kind of treatment. Qingyar Pavilion can almost be said to be the highest level and most elegant hotel in the Magic City. It is said that this is the property of the Su family, a first-class family in Shanghai. The Su family is no less powerful than the Song family. It has been passed down for hundreds of years, has a deep background, and is very powerful. Almost all the young masters and young ladies who come here to consume are from those families. The main reason is that ordinary people can't afford it. Led by the waiter, they came to the private room that had been reserved in advance. Oh my god, isn't this that idiot Jiang Qian? Yeah, it's so cool to have so many beautiful sisters. What's the point of this? It's just a fool. What a waste. That's right, if I had a group of sisters like this, I would be willing to die. This is what they call a fool having good fortune. We don't have that kind of luck. Although they were far away, Jiang Qian could hear the discussions of the people in the hall very clearly. It seems that the title of fool can't be changed in a short time. Jiang Qian thought to himself. They were about to arrive at the private room they had reserved, but Jiang Qian stopped outside another private room next to them. Because from this private room, he not only saw Master Wang Guoshui and his disciple, whom he had just met at noon, through the crack in the door, but also felt something unusual. Years of practicing medicine have given him a strong sense of this evil aura, and this aura is very strong and very familiar. Brother, what's wrong with you? Come in quickly. Luo Qingwu stood at the door of their private room and waved at Jiang Qian mischievously. Jiang Qian, as if he didn't hear anything, walked straight into the private room. In the end times, there are not only battles between humans and alien beasts, but bloody battles are also constantly breaking out among humans for the fight for safe territories. Many of Jiang Qian's companions died at the hands of this kind of thing, so he is very familiar with this kind of thing and this evil aura. This kind of thing is very scary. If you don't pay attention, you will be in trouble. Jiang Qian must go and see who the other party is. How could he raise such a gloomy and scary thing in the harmoniously developed modern world? Squeak Tilder. Pushing the door open, Jiang Qian walked in slowly. In addition to Wang Guoshui and Xie Feng, there were 2 other people sitting in the private room. A young man in a suit and tie, with a graceful demeanor, and an old man with white hair. Jiang Qian could feel that the evil energy was coming from this old man. Huh? Mr. Jiang? Why are you here? Seeing Jiang Qian, Wang Guoshui stood up first. Jiang Qian? Why did you come here alone? Do your sisters know about this? The young man also stood up, with some sympathy and concern in his words, without any disdain or sarcasm. His name is Su Zhenghao, and he is the eldest son of the Su family. The first impression he left on Jiang Qianni was that he was elegant in manners and handsome in appearance. Compared with those other young masters in Shanghai, he is much stronger. And that old man is the head of the Su family and Su Zhenghao's grandfather. My sisters are in the private room next door. I just passed by and saw Master Wang, so I came in to say hello. As soon as Jiang Qianni finished speaking, Chen Kexin and Liu Feishua walked in from outside, while the other sisters stood outside the door politely and did not rush in. Mr. Su, young Master Su. I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble. Chen Kexin apologized with a smile. She still had a very good impression of the Su family. Almost everyone in the Magic City looked at Jiang Qianni differently, except them. It's okay, everyone understands. Take Qianni back quickly. Su Zhenghao smiled very gentlemanly and said to Jiang Qianni, Qianni, go back with your sister quickly, don't make them worry. No. Jiang Qianni shook his head stubbornly and looked at Wang Guoshui beside him. Master Wang, can I ask you a question? Excuse me, Mr. Jiang. Are you here today to treat Mr. Su? Through his understanding of the Su family, plus the appearance of Wang Guoshui, he felt that the Su family was most likely framed, rather than their family raising those terrible things. Yeah. Any questions? What's wrong? Is it cured? It's just a headache. Of course it's cured. Otherwise, why would Mr. Su be so energetic and sit here to treat me to a meal? Wang Guoshui's tone was very proud. Mr. Su's headache was not a simple headache. He had seen many doctors but none of them worked. Finally, he was cured. This would not only bring him a considerable income, but also make him more famous. But Jiang Qianni, after hearing what he said, shook his head. No, you are not cured. Believe me, before tomorrow, Mr. Su's condition will relapse and become more serious. Chapter 10. There are times when they beg me. Qianni, stop talking nonsense. Chen Kexin poked him from the side, then smiled and said to Su Xianyuan, I'm sorry, Mr. Su, my brother is immature, don't bother with him. It's okay, it's okay. Su Xianyuan smiled and waved. He is an optimistic and kind-hearted person, and he feels deeply sympathetic towards Jiang Qianni's situation. Even if we take a step back, arguing with a fool is a blasphemy to his identity. Mr. Su, you'd better believe me. If it weren't for your attitude towards me, I wouldn't have done this. Jiang Qianni did not give up. The reason why he did this was not only because of the Su family's attitude towards him in the past, but also because he wanted to find out the source of this thing. He would never allow a horrible family that raised such a thing to exist in the Magic City, near him and his sisters. Oh? I wonder what clues Mr. Jiang has noticed. At this time, Wang Guoshui's voice sounded, and his attitude was not as respectful as before. Instead, he began to question, because he was 100% sure that there was nothing wrong with Grandpa Su's body. You may not believe me, but Mr. Su is poisoned, and it's a GU poison. Although you gave him an injection, you only put the GU worms in his body into a dormant state, but did not kill them. Once the GU worms wake up, Mr. Su's condition will recur and be more serious than before. Har ha har har tilde. After hearing what Jiang Qianni said, Wang Guoshui laughed out loud. At noon you said that a person at the medical level like me would actually believe in evil legends, and now you actually believe in this thing yourself. Jiang Qianni, I respect you so much for nothing. It seems that this time, I really misjudged you. No. GU poison and being possessed by evil spirits are two completely different things. GU poison does exist. It's just that your realm is too low and you don't understand many things. TSK, you sound very convincing. Wang Guoshui sneered disdainfully. Have you watched too many TV dramas? And you're poisoned. Do you need the elixir of Taishan Lao Jun to cure it? Now Wang Guoshui finally understood why a master of medicine was willing to hide here. It turned out that Jiang Qianni was not as powerful as he had imagined. His understanding of Jiang Qianni's medical level was probably just a coincidence. Jiang Qianni ignored Wang Guoshui. He always disliked such arrogant people. He turned his gaze to Su Zhenghao and his grandson and asked, Do you believe me or him? Qianni, I know you mean well, thank you. Go back with your sisters as soon as possible. Su Zhenghao's tone of voice still seemed very polite and gentle. But everyone could hear that he was already a little angry. Qianni, listen to third sister and go. Brother, this is the Su family, you can't afford to offend them, go back quickly. Chen Kasin and Liu Feishue also whispered in persuasion. Hey Tilder, Jiang Qianyi sighed heavily and said, okay, then I won't bother you anymore. After saying that, she turned around and walked out with her third and fifth sisters. This Jiang Qianyi really is our Tilder. After they left, Su Zhenghao shook his head helplessly. The title of Magic City's #1 idiot is really not for nothing, he always does something unexpected. Okay, Zhenghao, it's unfortunate that he has this disease, don't laugh at him. Su Xianyuan said, let's continue eating, Master Wang, I'll toast you. Looking at Jiang Qianyi, after he left, Chen Kasin asked worriedly, Qianyi, aren't you well? Why is it happening again? That's right, do you know that the people there are from the Su family? Their strength can rival that of the Song family. Could it be that the illness has recurred? This shouldn't be the case. He was fine just now. The sisters kept talking to each other, making Jiang Qianyi upset. It was bad enough that he was looked down upon by the Su family and Wang Wuxue, but now his sisters were also doubting him. Brother, is what you just said true? At this moment, Liu Feishue, who had been silent, made a voice that was completely different from everyone else's. Feishue, what are you doing? Chen Kasin looked at her and asked curiously. I believe my brother. What he just said must be true. I hope you can believe it too. At noon, Liu Feishue was injured by Lu Kuei. Although the injury was not serious, he also lost a lot of combat power. Jiang Qianyi just tapped her body twice, and her pain disappeared immediately, and her fighting power was restored to its original state. Based on this point alone, Liu Feishue absolutely believed in Jiang Qianyi. Wow Tilder, after hearing what Liu Feishue said, Jiang Qianyi threw himself into her arms and pretended to cry, Fifth sister, you are still the best. They are all bad people Tilder. Jiang Qianyi is in this state now, if you say he is a fool, I am afraid no one will not believe it. Oh. Stop it. Liu Feishue pushed him up helplessly and asked, what are you going to do next? They don't believe me, what can I do? Jiang Qianyi shrugged helplessly, don't worry, they will beg me for help. Now all we have to do is go eat quickly. I'm starving. You deserve to be hungry. Who told you to run into someone else's house just now? Luo Qingwu lectured unhappily. Hey, sisters, my brother was wrong. I will never meddle in other people's business again, okay? Jiang Qianyi smiled, then took the lead and walked into the box they had reserved. Several sisters followed closely behind like bodyguards. They all secretly breathed a sigh of relief. They were really nervous to death just now. But now it seems that all the efforts were in vain, as my brother's condition has not recurred. Come on, Qianyi, order whatever you want to eat. After sitting down, the sisters handed the menu to Jiang Qianyi as usual. Waiter. Jiang Qianyi snapped his fingers casually. First, a turtle. I'll take care of myself. Then a lobster. What the hell, what is abalone from Soma? Aren't there pirates there? Give me a taste. I guess they risked their lives for this, it would be inappropriate not to eat it. Austrian yak? Give me one. I want to see what the difference is between it and our Yinshire country's cattle. African ostrich eggs. How big are these eggs? Let's take a look. Jiang Qianyi ordered a lot of food in a row, just like he was performing a crosstalk. Not only the waiter, but even his sisters couldn't help laughing. They didn't expect that after Jiang Qianyi recovered, he was still such a humorous and funny person. Soon, all the dishes were served. Jiang Qianyi opened his bloody mouth and started eating with a smacking sound. Anyway, there were her sisters in the room, so there was no need to worry about anything. She could either start eating or climb onto the table and eat with such relish. The good thing about modern society is that we can eat such delicious food. This is simply impossible in the last days. Chapter 11 Attack. Hiccup Tilder. A deafening burp spread throughout the private room. Even people in the hall outside could hear the loud noise coming from here. Jiang Qianyi leaned back in his chair and rubbed his round, bulging belly with satisfaction. He ate more by himself than the 7 sisters combined. If he hadn't been so exhausted, he would probably have been able to stuff more into his mouth. Qianyi, are you full? Do you want to order some more? Bai Yunmeng looked at the mess on the table and couldn't help but grit her teeth. It felt like this guy hadn't eaten for hundreds of years. I'm full. It's so delicious. Burp Tilder. It's delicious. I'll bring you here often in the future. Really? You're so nice, third sister. Hey, brother, aren't we good enough? Luo Qingwu put her hands on her waist and said unhappily. Her words were full of strong sourness, and her cherry lips were slightly pouted, which was very cute. Eighth sister, don't be jealous. You guys are all very nice to me. Hee hee. That's better. I'll spare you. Then I would like to thank eighth sister for not killing me. I am grateful to you forever. You're such a smooth talker. Luo Qingwu rolled her eyes at him. Hee hee. Jiang Qianyi smiled obscenely, and then said, It's getting late, let us go back quickly, have a good sleep, and welcome guests tomorrow. Guests? Who will come to our house tomorrow? After hearing his words, the seven sisters looked at each other, not understanding what Jiang Qianyi meant. Well, I'll keep it a secret for now. You'll know tomorrow. TSK, you're still keeping it a secret from your sisters. I want to see who will come tomorrow. Shangguan Wana glanced at him disdainfully and said. Then, several people rushed out like a swarm. Fifth sister, I want to ask you something. Jiang Qianyi deliberately walked at the end, in a row with Liu Feishue, and whispered in her ear. Although Liu Feishue tried her best to cover up herself just now, of course she succeeded in hiding it from everyone. But only Jiang Qianyi noticed her abnormality and knew that the fifth sister must be hiding something. Brother, what's the matter? Why are you being so secretive? Fifth sister, do you believe me? What do you mean by that? I want to tell you, if you have any problem that you can't solve, don't bear it alone, tell me and I will help you share the burden. No. Don't you know what I did? There is nothing in this world that your fifth sister can't solve. Liu Feishue was surprised for a moment. She didn't understand why she could be discovered by her brother even though she concealed it so well. Really? Jiang Qianyi asked again. Of course. Oh, come on, what can happen to me? Liu Feishue continued to deny, then strode away, caught up with Luo Qingwu in front, and the two started chatting. Tilde. Jiang Qianyi took a deep breath, frowned and shook his head. He was sure that there must be something wrong with the fifth sister's mind, and according to his intuition, this matter was not simple and even concerned her safety. Jiang Qianyi has always believed in his intuition. It was this illusory intuition that saved his life countless times and allowed him to escape from the claws of strange beasts. So he was sure that the fifth sister might be in danger. So Jiang Qianyi followed his sisters and walked out alone with a lot on his mind. As their eldest sister, Bai Yunmeng was of course the first to pay the bill. Although the meal cost more than 100,000 yuan, it was just a drop in the bucket for her. Sitting in Liu Feishue's military Hummer, the two of them chose to remain silent tacitly. The atmosphere in the car seemed a little solemn and a little awkward. Silly brother. Why aren't you talking? Liu Feishue seemed to have noticed the current atmosphere and took the lead in breaking it. I don't know what to say. When are you leaving? What? When do you mean when are we leaving? If I'm not mistaken, you should have a mission these 2 days, and it's a very difficult mission. You yourself are not sure whether you can come back alive, right? Brother, you tilde, Liu Feishue looked at Jiang Qianyi, her expression of surprise unable to express in words. Analysis. Jiang Qianyi's tone was very calm, without any change. It seems that I was right. Can you tell me about it? Qianyi, although this mission is difficult, it is not difficult for your fifth sister, so don't worry. I can't bear to abandon such a good brother like you. Liu Feishue forced a smile and said to Jiang Qianyi, but don't tell the eldest sister and the second sister yet, so as not to worry them. Don't worry, I won't tell you, but you tilde. I'm fine. This isn't my first mission. The combat power of the Yanlong Special Forces is not comparable to that of a mob. When I'm not around, you must protect the third and fourth sisters. Especially after what happened at noon, the Song family will definitely not let it go. Oh well. Jiang Qianyi had no choice but to give up asking further. The fifth sister didn't want to say it, and even if he asked for another year, there would be no answer. Besides, what she said made a lot of sense. Looking at Liu Feishue, he said, Fifth sister, I still say the same thing. If you need any help, I will do my best to help you. Okay, I will. Liu Feishue nodded with a smile. Brother, it seems that you have really grown up a lot. He tilde, Jiang Qianyi just smiled and didn't say anything. However, at this moment, a small truck suddenly rushed out from the intersection ahead, and without any sign of slowing down, it hit their car. Be careful tilde. Jiang Qianyi was the first to react and shouted. Liu Feishue also quickly stepped on the brakes. Squeak tilde. Bang tilde. Bang tilde. There was a sharp friction sound of brakes, but it was too late. Liu Feishue's car was hit from the side. Although it was a military vehicle with good collision resistance, the door was still dented and Liu Feishue also suffered some external injuries. But Shang Wanwana, who followed behind her, was not so lucky. Because she failed to brake in time, Shang Wanwana's sports car crashed directly into the back of the Hummer. The huge impact force caused a bruise on Shang Wanwana's forehead. Fortunately, it was not too serious and she did not fall into a coma. She just felt a little dizzy. Damn it! Jiang Qianni cursed loudly, and before Liu Feishue could react, he disappeared in the car. The intention of this truck is clear, and that is to kill people. The most important thing is that Jiang Qianni also felt a slight fluctuation of true energy around him. But Jiang Qianni doesn't care who the other person is, let alone what the other person is going to do. He only knew that whoever dared to hurt his sisters would disappear from this world forever. Chapter 12 Strange Jade Pendant. After the pickup truck successfully forced Liu Feishue's car to stop, the people in the car were about to get out. There were only 3 of them, and each of them held a sharp dagger in his hand, which looked particularly dazzling under the evening light. Sure tilde. As soon as they got off the car, Jiang Qianni arrived, and his speed was so fast that it was a little unbelievable. Although he is still in the late yellow stage, with many years of practical experience, his strength is comparable to that of a warrior in the middle profound stage. Even if he meets a warrior in the late Xian stage, he will be able to fight. You are martial arts practitioner. Feeling the powerful aura emanating from Jiang Qianni, the 3 people were a little surprised and at a loss. What do you think? Jiang Qianni said, if I'm not mistaken, the Song family asked you to come here. It seems that they really want to go to hell to accompany Song Qianhao. You are so arrogant. Watch out for the knife. The 3 men obviously didn't want to get entangled with Jiang Qianni, so they raised their knives and chopped at him. Although the aura on Jiang Qianni was very thick and strong, they were not willing to just wait for nothing, especially when it was 3 against 1. But unfortunately, they overestimated their own strength and underestimated Jiang Qianni's strength. Jiang Qianni flashed and disappeared in front of them in an instant. Then a few screams were heard, and in just 2 seconds, all 3 people were knocked to the ground, 2 died and 1 was seriously injured. Shen level strongman. The seriously injured man stammered out his last words and fell to the ground, losing his vitality. It can be seen that he was so helpless, so surprised, and so regretful in the end. Yes, just a moment ago, Jiang Qianni has been promoted to the early stage of the Xian level. The promotion in class means a lot of improvement in strength. In his eyes, these early yellow level trash are not even as good as ants. This is a long story, but it was actually completed in a flash. It took less than 10 seconds from the time Jiang Qianni got off the car to the time he dealt with these 3 people. Liu Feishue didn't even have time to get out of the car, and the cars of the sisters in front of her didn't have time to back up, but it was all over. Coming to the 4th sister's car, Jiang Qianni carried her out of the car, then pressed a few acupoints on her forehead to slightly relieve her internal injuries. Qianni, are you okay? Liu Feishue also came down at this time and asked worriedly. Don't worry, 5th sister, we are all fine. Jiang Qianni said, and carried Shangguan Wan'er to Liu Feishue's car. 5th sister, they are all from the Song family. You take 4th sister back first, and I will drive 4th sister's car. Okay then. Liu Feishue nodded obediently. Although she didn't react to what had happened just now, she knew that her brother must have resolved the matter, so she drove away. Jiang Qianni, on the other hand, frowned and looked towards the corner not far away. But she said nothing. She waved to the other sisters, reported that she was safe, then got into Ouyang Wan's Porsche sports car and left with them. As for the truck and the 3 warrior corpses, Jiang Qianni didn't even look at them. Someone would naturally clean them up in a while. Although the front of Ouyang Wan's sports car was badly damaged, it still had plenty of power and felt great to drive. This sports car is so comfortable. Jiang Qianni muttered, and his foot unconsciously stepped on the accelerator. Compared with these female killers, his driving skills were much better. He scurried around in the traffic like a mouse, and soon he overtook the last car to the front. Soon, 7 luxury cars were parked neatly in front of Chen Kasin's house again. Qianni, Feishue, what exactly happened just now? As soon as they got off the car, Bai Yunmeng and the others couldn't wait to come over and ask. Oh, it's nothing. It was just an unexpected traffic accident. I saw that the other party had a hard time, so I didn't bother them. Jiang Chenny did not tell the truth. First, he did not want to make his sisters worry, and second, there was no need to do so because from tomorrow, the Song family would no longer exist. So that's how it is. That's good. Chen Kexin nodded, then supported Ouyang Wan'er and walked in. Jiang Chenny and Liu Feishue were still at the end. Liu Feishue didn't say anything, but just gave him a look with mixed feelings. Jiang Chenny really couldn't understand what she wanted to express. But he was sure that the fifth sister must have seen everything that had just happened. But since she didn't say anything, Jiang Chenny didn't need to ask. Walking into the hall and coming to Ouyang Wan'er who was sitting on the sofa, Jiang Chenny asked worriedly, "Fourth sister, how do you feel? Are you feeling better? Do you want to go to the hospital?" "Don't worry, Chenny, I'm fine. My forehead just hurts a little. It will be fine after a good night's sleep," Ouyang Wan'er said with a smile. "I think it's getting late. We've been tired all day. Let's all go and take a rest," Chen Kexin said, then supported Ouyang Wan'er and walked back. The others also went back to their rooms. This place can be said to be their base camp in the Magic City, so even though Bai Yunmeng and the others rarely come back, they all have their own rooms. Soon, the entire hall fell into silence. Lying on the bed, Jiang Chenny fiddled with the jade pendant given to him by his elder sister. This jade pendant not only has a peculiar shape, but also has something engraved on it. It is square and looks like words, but it is unknown which country the words are from. If you look more closely, it looks like a painting. In short, the more Jiang Chenny looked at it, the more he was confused about what this thing was. At this time, Jiang Chenny suddenly discovered that although this jade pendant was very thin, there was indeed an inconspicuous gap in the middle, as if it had two layers. "It should be here." Jiang Chenny saw a small dot on the strange things engraved on the jade pendant, so he stretched out his thumb and pressed it. With a click sound, the jade pendant actually opened from the middle. There are also things carved on the upper and inner layers, but this is different from what is carved on the outer layer. You can tell at a glance that it is a painting. After putting the two pieces together, Jiang Chenny understood almost everything. The general meaning of the painting is that a group of people are kneeling on the ground, and in front of them should be a monarch, sitting on a stool and feeling the admiration of thousands of people. This shouldn't be an ordinary jade pendant. Jiang Chenny muttered to himself, could it be from some ancient tribe? Or is it not from Yanxi country at all? Beep tilde. The old clock in the room made a clear sound, waking up Jiang Chenny who was lost in thought. It rang only once, which proved that it was already 1 o'clock in the morning. Jiang Chenny put the jade pendant together and put it back on his body. He felt that this was probably a mystery. He could just wear it as an ordinary jade pendant. It would look pretty good. He stood up from the bed. The reason why he didn't fall asleep so late was that he wanted to wait until late at night and when his sisters were asleep, and then go to visit the Song family. He would never allow any hidden dangers to exist around his sisters. Especially after the car accident that night. If he hadn't been at the scene, the fifth sister would have died long ago. Open the window and look around. After making sure there was no one around, Jiang Chenny jumped down and disappeared into the darkness in a flash. Chapter 13: The Abducted Woman. Magic City area. The streets were dotted with lights, but empty. Street food shops and convenience stores are all closed, and even bars and nightclubs have lost their hustle and bustle of 8 or 9 o'clock. Occasionally a car would drive by, but it would also drive very fast and disappear in the blink of an eye. The entire Magic City was plunged into a peaceful, harmonious and quiet environment. In the city center, there is a luxurious manor of thousands of square meters. It is also the only most luxurious manor in the Magic City. It is very vast, quiet and elegant. There are all kinds of fruit trees and vegetables planted in the manor. Now it is autumn, which is a good season for harvest. Fresh fruits are hanging on the trees, swaying in the breeze. People can't even bear to pick them after seeing them. Even at night, it feels very beautiful. This is the Song family's manor. Although the Song family's strength is not undeservedly number 1 in the Magic City, their residence is definitely the undisputed number 1 in the Magic City. Jiang Chenny took a look from the outside and was indeed shocked by its magnificence. This manor was so much better than his third sister's home. This is what they call comparing yourself to others, which is really frustrating. The gate of the Song family manor was already locked at this time, and 2 bodyguards stood upright on both sides of the gate. They were wearing sunglasses, so no one could tell whether they had their eyes open or had fallen asleep while standing. Sure Tilder. Jiang Qianyi exerted force on his feet and jumped up several meters high, easily crossing the seemingly solid iron gate. Who are you? What are you doing here, Tilder? Oh, Tilder. Before the 2 bodyguards could finish their words, they fell down with a low roar, and their breathing stopped abruptly. They died without even knowing how they died or at whose hands they died. They died with their eyes wide open, unable to close. After killing these 2 men, Jiang Qianyi walked straight in without even looking at them. The Song family is notoriously hateful in the Magic City. Relying on their power in the Magic City, they are tyrannical and do all kinds of evil. Both the people and families in the Magic City hate them deeply. These Song family bodyguards were just bullies who took advantage of their superior's power and bullied countless people. Therefore, Jiang Qianyi didn't feel the slightest bit of guilt for killing them. Along the way, Jiang Qianyi met 2 teams of bodyguards on night patrol. There was no doubt that they, like the 2 people at the door, had lost their lives before they could even make a sound. In less than a minute, Jiang Qianyi walked from the gate of the manor to the front door of the Song family. Behind him, there were nearly a dozen corpses lying in a mess. Jiang Qianyi found the room of Song Zhenyan, the head of the Song family, and walked in. This guy, his son is dead, but he is still sleeping soundly. His snoring is so loud that it makes Jiang Qianyi feel annoyed. Moreover, he is holding a beautiful young woman in his arms. I don't know where he was kidnapped from. Click Tilder. Jiang Qianyi turned on the light in the room, and the dim environment instantly became bright. Song Zhenyan and the girl were instantly awakened from their dreams. When the woman saw a strange man sitting on the balcony with his legs crossed, she instantly let out a scream worse than a ghost, and then covered her naked body with a quilt. You don't have to scream. I don't even look down on people like you. Jiang Qianyi glanced at her with disdain, then rushed over and knocked her out with a single blow. Looking at Song Zhenyan's surprised expression, Jiang Qianyi just said for words calmly, "She's too noisy." Who are you? Jiang Qianyi. Song Zhenyan put on his glasses and saw the young man in front of him clearly. Isn't this the man who killed his son and was called the big fool of the Magic City by the world? It seems that the Song family's patriarch has a very good memory. Since we know each other, there is no need for me to introduce him further. How did you get in? You just came in like that. Jiang Qianyi shrugged. Those rubbish in your house can't cause me any trouble. Then what do you want to ask me for? Song Zhenyan said with a frown, his right hand already secretly groping for the alarm switch behind him. Har har Tilder, Jiang Qianyi curled his lips and smiled. Believe it or not, the moment the alarm goes off, I can easily take your life. This. After hearing this, Song Zhenyan's right hand shrank back as if he had been electrocuted. Just because Jiang Qianyi was able to enter his room without anyone noticing, he believed that Jiang Qianyi was not lying. What exactly do you want to do? Leaning against the wall, Song Zhenyan was already feeling a little panicked. I, Jiang Qianyi, have sworn that whoever dares to hurt my sister, no matter what the reason, I will not let him continue to live. Song Qianhao is one, and those warriors are also one. And this time, it's your turn, Song Zhenyan. Jiang Qianyi said, with endless murderous intent in his eyes, which made Song Zhenyan feel scared and panicked from the bottom of his heart. You want to kill me? What? Don't you deserve to die? If you die, the Magic City will have a festival tomorrow. No. You can't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, I can give you anything you want, money, beautiful women. This is of no use to me. If you continue to live, you will be the biggest threat to my sisters. No. If I die, I will be the biggest threat to you. The others here will not let you go. Are you threatening me? Jiang Qianyi frowned and said, but you can rest assured, starting tonight, the Song family will disappear from the Magic City. Bang, bang, bang Tilder. Bang, bang, bang Tilder. As soon as Jiang Qianyi finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Dad, are you okay? Why was that girl screaming so loudly just now? Be careful not to hurt your waist. He. No Tilder, I'm fine. Song Zhenyan said with a trembling voice. What's wrong with you? Are you weak? I told you to give me that girl. But you insisted on snatching her away. Hey Tilder, Jiang Qianyi sneered after hearing this, it seems that there is really no good person in your Song family. What is the origin of this woman? This is what Song Tiancheng brought back from someone else's house. Song Jinyan whispered, and then, while Jiang Qianni was not paying attention, he rushed to the door, opened the door and shouted, "Tiancheng, run! Someone come!" As he spoke, he grabbed Song Tiancheng's hand and was about to run. Humptilder Jiang Qianni shook his head in disdain and said to himself, "It's really pitiful, sad and ridiculous." After he finished speaking, 2 steel nails appeared in his hands, which he got from somewhere. Swish tilde. Song Jinyan and his son just ran out 1 step. 2 steel nails were driven into their hearts from behind. They didn't even have time to scream before they both fell to the ground. "Help! Help me! Help us!" At this time, the woman who had just been knocked unconscious by Jiang Qianni had woken up. After hearing this, Jiang Qianni hurried over, put his clothes on her, and asked, "We? Do you mean that there are people here who have the same experience as you?" "Yes, my sister. She was captured by them too." Chapter 14: The Secret of the Su family's eldest daughter. After Jiang Qianni got a brief understanding of her. "I just found out that her name was Wang Shui and she came from a lowest-class working-class family in Shanghai. Yesterday at noon, when I went shopping in the Magic City pedestrian street with my sister Wang Yu, I was inadvertently spotted by the pervert Song Tiancheng. The beauty of these 2 sisters is not stunning, but they are 1 in a million. Song Tiancheng didn't say anything and directly brought them here. According to her, her sister Wang Yu should have been taken to the room of Song Tiancheng's second uncle. Seeing Wang Shui in tears, Jiang Qianni felt heartbroken and hated the Song family. These 2 sisters were only about 24 or 25, about the same age as his older sisters, and now they had fallen to such a fate. Originally, Jiang Qianni just wanted to kill Song Jinyan, but after experiencing this incident, he changed his mind. He decided to completely eradicate the Song family, this cancer, for the sake of Magic City. Although Jiang Qianni is not a gentleman, he still cannot do anything when encountering such things. Leaving Wang Shui in the room, Jiang Qianni walked out alone. He did not let go of any of the Song family members who were still able to breathe. These people all lost their lives in their sleep, and not letting them leave in pain was Jiang Qianni's greatest kindness. Finally, Jiang Qianni found Wang Shui's sister Wang Yu in the room of Song Jinyan's younger brother Song Jinfen. The 2 sisters hugged each other and cried bitterly, which made Jiang Qianni feel a little bit sorry. Although modern society is very different from the end of the world, there is one thing that has never changed, that is, the strong prey on the weak. If you don't have the ability, you can only be bullied. Okay, go home quickly. Your families must be waiting anxiously. Jiang Qianni patted their shoulders and said, thank you, benefactor. May I know your name?" Wang Yu sniffed and said with a sob, "My name is Jiang Qianni. If you need any help in the future, you can always come to Villa number 6, Haidong Road to find me." "Oh. Thank you, Mr. Jiang." "You're welcome, let's go." Jiang Qianni said, slowly helped them up and walked out of the room. Where is this? Coming to the lobby on the first floor, Jiang Qianni accidentally discovered another door in an inconspicuous corner. Because it was in the corner, Jiang Qianni had not noticed it before. And this door is different from the other doors, it is locked from the outside. It's like a storage room, but why should the storage room at home be locked? There must be something in there that they care about, such as antiques, cash or something. Although Jiang Qianni doesn't care much about money now, since he is here, he still plans to take a look. "You guys go home first, I have something else to do. Don't tell anyone about this." Jiang Qianni gave them an instruction and sent the Wang Yu sisters away. He walked over and turned on the main light in the living room. There was no one alive in the entire Song family now, so he wasn't afraid of waking anyone up. Then he found something and broke the lock on the door. As he expected, this was a storage room of the Song family, filled with miscellaneous items. Of course, the most important thing is that there is a woman tied up inside. Her eyes and mouth were blocked, and she woke up immediately after hearing the door open, sitting there and twisting her body. Jiang Qianni's first feeling was that she, like the Wang Shui sisters, was abducted by the Song family. I walked over and removed the blindfold and the towel on her mouth. The strong light was blinding. She opened her eyes and immediately closed them again. After gradually adapting to the environment here, she slowly opened her eyes again, and the figure standing in front of her became clearer and clearer. "Who are you?" "Su Yuqing." At the same time, Jiang Qianni also saw her appearance clearly. Although he had only met her twice, Jiang Qianyi still had an impression of her in his memory. She was Su Yuqing, the eldest daughter of the Su family and Su Zhengha's biological sister. Jiang Qianyi? Why is it you? Su Yuqing shouted in disbelief. Isn't he a fool? Why is he here? Miss Su, why are you here? Get up quickly. Jiang Qianyi ignored her surprise, squatted down to untie the ropes on her body, and helped her to stand up. She looked very embarrassed and must have been locked up here for more than a day or two. Woo 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 tilde. After standing up, Su Yuqing threw herself into Jiang Qianyi's arms and burst into tears. Jiang Qianyi did not struggle to break free, but kept comforting her. She should have had a beauty that was not inferior to her sisters, but now she looked like a little beggar, without any of the elegance of a young lady. So Jiang Qianyi could imagine what the eldest daughter of the Su family had experienced in the past few days. It would be better to let her vent than to hold it in her heart. As time went by, Su Yuqing calmed down a little bit, and her loud crying gradually turned into soft sobs. Miss Su, can you tell me what exactly happened? Why did the Song family arrest you? Jiang Qianyi saw that she had almost recovered, so he asked. Because I heard a secret of the Song family. Su Yuqing said, and then she realized that Jiang Qianyi was actually hugging her, and seemed so happy and comfortable. Her pretty face immediately blushed, and she pushed Jiang Qianyi away and walked out alone. Secret? What secret? Jiang Qianyi hurriedly followed him out. Shall we leave here first? If we wake up the Song family, we won't be able to leave. Don't worry, even if we set off a string of firecrackers here, they won't wake up. Huh? What do you mean? You're going to kill them all. What do you think? Jiang Qianyi smiled slightly and asked meaningfully. It was obvious that he confirmed what Su Yuqing said. Oh my god, Jiang Qianyi, you tilde, you are not tilde. Okay, stop talking nonsense and tell me what secret you heard. Jiang Qianyi knew what she was going to say. He had heard too much that day and really didn't want to waste his breath explaining anything. Oh. Okay. Su Yuqing nodded blankly. She found that Jiang Qianyi had really changed. The dull and silly Modu Dasha from the past has completely disappeared. What came into her sight instead was a tall, majestic, suave man who had even saved her life. In fact, this secret has a very big relationship with you. Oh? What is it? Jiang Qianyi frowned slightly after hearing this. He asked out of curiosity, but he didn't expect that it was related to him. This forced him to take it seriously. The Song family is going to attack your fifth sister Liu Feishue. Chapter 15 The Su family beggar. What? Attack my fifth sister? Jiang Qianyi's brows were tightly locked together, looking a little surprised. Yes, Su Yuqing nodded, and not only your fifth sister, but also the Yanlong special forces behind her will probably be killed. Tell me quickly, what are they going to do? Jiang Qianyi asked impatiently. He already had a vague feeling that the Song family's conspiracy this time might be related to the fifth sister's mission. They kidnapped a scientist who had made contributions to Yanxia country in K City on the southwestern border. Because it is all jungle and the terrain is very complicated, Yanxia country will definitely send the Yanlong special forces to carry out the rescue mission first. And they are taking this opportunity to catch the Yanlong special forces in one fell swoop. I understand. But I think this is not something that the Song family can do. Is there someone behind them? Jiang Qianyi asked. Although the Song family is strong, they are still far from being able to destroy the Flame Dragon special forces. That's for sure, Su Yuqing nodded and said, and they have already sent for warriors to the Song family, wanting to kill your fifth sister first, and then deal with the Flame Dragon special forces. It's just as I expected. These people are not from the Song family. Jiang Qianyi muttered to himself. Now he finally understood everything that happened today. Ultimately, the target was his fifth sister. However, these warriors have now disappeared, and Liu Feishue should be safe for the time being before going to K City. Ms. Su, your news is very important. Thank you on behalf of my fifth sister. Jiang Qianyi bowed to her from the bottom of his heart. Su Yuqing's news could be said to have saved his fifth sister's life. Don't be so polite. You also saved my life, so let's consider it even. We don't owe each other anything, how about that? Su Yuqing said jokingly. Although she looked a little embarrassed, the beauty in her bones could not be concealed. Her smile was very beautiful and lovely, with a unique flavor. Okay. It's settled. Jiang Qianyi said with a smile, let's go quickly, it will be dawn soon. Yeah. Su Yuqing nodded obediently. She no longer dared to treat Jiang Qianni as a fool. He was her savior and the savior of the Su family. Especially the moment Jiang Qianni just opened the door and walked in, his tall and majestic image was already deeply engraved in her mind. When I walked out of the Song family's gate, I saw corpses scattered all over the yard. Su Yuqing finally understood that Jiang Qianni did not lie. The Song family was really destroyed by him. Jiang Qianni personally sent Su Yuqing back to their home and said, "Go back. Your brother will probably jump for joy when he sees you tomorrow. Yeah, Grandpa would probably be grinning from ear to ear too. I'm afraid your grandfather won't know you're back tomorrow." Why? He's not home. You'll know tomorrow. Remember, if you need any help, come to my third sister's villa to find me. Do you understand? Oh. I understand. Su Yuqing nodded foolishly. She didn't understand what Jiang Qianni meant, but she didn't ask any further questions. She just said goodbye and left. Sorry, beggars are not allowed here. At the door of the Su family, Su Yuqing was stopped by the bodyguard on duty at night. Poof tilde. Jiang Qianni saw this scene from behind and laughed out loud. If word got out that the eldest daughter of the Su family was turned away as a beggar, it would probably become explosive news in the Magic City. Hey! You two take a good look at who that little girl is. Su Yuqing put her hands on her hips and yelled, especially when she heard Jiang Qianni's ridicule behind her. She became even angrier. After hearing Su Yuqing's outburst, the two bodyguards came over and looked at her carefully, then their faces suddenly changed, showing surprise and disbelief. "Miss? Are you back? It's really you, miss? Oh my god, where have you been these past 2 days? How did you end up like this? It's hard to explain." Su Yuqing shook her head helplessly and said, "Can we go in now?" Okay, the two bodyguards said quickly, "I'll report this to the Patriarch and young master right away." Wait. Su Yuqing hurriedly called him, "Don't wake them up yet, let's talk about it in the morning." Yes, I understand. Please come in, miss. The bodyguard hurried back and respectfully made a gesture of invitation. Su Yuqing nodded with satisfaction, then looked at Jiang Qianni, who was still smiling behind her, turned around and walked back, pointing at him and said, "I'm telling you, don't tell anyone about this, otherwise I will never forgive you." "I'll try my best." Jiang Qianni shrugged indifferently. "What do you mean by try your best? I want you to completely forget about this matter. I'm not a goldfish. I can't forget things so quickly." You tilde. It was the first time that Su Yuqing knew that this guy was so talkative, and she stomped her feet in anger. Har tilde, Jiang Qianni laughed. Su Yuqing looked quite cute when she got angry. "Okay, I won't tease you anymore. I swear I won't tell anyone. Are you relieved now? Little beggar." Jiang Qianni deliberately emphasized the last 3 words. After he finished speaking, before Su Yuqing could react, he had disappeared from the spot. "Jiang Qianni, just wait for me." Su Yuqing started screaming like crazy in the back. But Jiang Qianni ignored her, made a face at her from a distance, then disappeared into the darkness in a flash. "HMPH tilde Jiang Qianni, just wait, I will never let you off easily." Su Yuqing looked at the direction Jiang Qianni left, dodged angrily, and then walked back home. She never dreamed that one day she would be defeated by this stupid person. Wasn't that Jiang Qianni just now? How come he was with the young lady? I don't know. Looking at their appearance, they seem very familiar. But isn't Jiang Qianni a fool? Could it be that he rescued the young lady? Hey tilde, who knows? This kind of thing is not something we should worry about. As long as the young lady is back, everything will be fine. After Su Yuqing went in, the two bodyguards started discussing with each other. Jiang Qianni's rebirth this time really shocked too many people, and made everyone who knew him feel it was so incredible. Soon, Jiang Qianni returned home. He had been busy the whole day and was really a little tired. Although he might not be able to sleep for a long time, for Jiang Qianni, 2 or 3 hours of rest would be enough. Sure tilde. Jiang Qianni stood in front of the house. He exerted force on his feet and jumped directly to the 3rd floor, returning to his own room again. Standing in the room, Jiang Qianni frowned. He suddenly sensed a hint of danger. Because there is a strong martial arts energy emanating here. This kind of true energy is definitely not something that can be emitted by 5th sister Liu Feishue, who is in the early beginner stage. Not good. Jiang Qianni shouted, and then rushed out of his room without stopping. Chapter 16 Mysterious Woman. As a doomsday warrior, Jiang Qianni had already been alert to the danger. Even in his sleep, he could feel the danger approaching around him. This is not innate, but is acquired through experience and training. If it weren't for this feeling, Jiang Qianni would have died in the sneak attack of those strange beasts long ago. Although the sense of danger he felt now was very small. But the other party exudes such a strong martial arts aura, and is at least a martial arts practitioner in the middle stage of the yellow rank. What does he want to do to his sisters here? Jiang Qianni doesn't know. Jiang Qianni rushed out of the room quickly, following his breath from small to large, and came to the outside of his fifth sister's room. Click tilde. Jiang Qianni turned the door lightly and it opened. Although the room was pitch black, Jiang Qianni could still clearly see a person standing in front of his fifth sister's bed, bending over as if he was about to do something. Jiang Qianni's push of the door really scared him. He quickly stopped what he was doing and stood up. Par tilde. Jiang Qianni turned on the bedroom light and saw the man clearly. She was wearing a black nightgown and her entire head was covered with cloth, leaving only 2 pairs of eyes visible. Moreover, this person has a slim figure and a bulge on his chest, which is obviously the figure of a woman. When this person saw Jiang Qianni coming in, his eyes lit up and he turned around and was about to leave. Where are you going? Jiang Qianni growled and stood in front of the window. Swish tilde, the mysterious man suddenly took out a shining dagger from behind and slashed towards Jiang Qianni. Jiang Qianni dodged her attack easily and grabbed her knife-holding hand easily. Who are you? What do you want to see my fifth sister for? HMPH tilde, the mysterious man sneered and threw a handful of powdery substance made of unknown substance at Jiang Qianni with his other hand. Jiang Qianni was caught off guard and was indeed blinded for a moment. And that mysterious person took advantage of this moment and jumped out of the window. By the time Jiang Qianni reacted, she had already disappeared. Fifth sister, are you okay? Turning around, Jiang Qianni asked with concern. I'm fine, thank you Qianni. Don't thank me, fifth sister. If this person wants to kill you, there's nothing I can do. Huh? What do you mean? She wasn't coming for me. It's coming for you, but I don't think I have any killing intent. That's weird. What on earth does she want to do? And judging from the way she's dressed, it's obvious that she doesn't want people to recognize her. I don't know. Jiang Qianni shook his head, looked out the window, and said to himself, could it be him? In fact, whether it was what happened to Song Qianhao at noon or the car accident at night. Jiang Qianni even noticed that someone was watching them nearby. Especially the car accident at night, Jiang Qianni saw the shadow of this person, who was very similar to the mysterious man who had just escaped. The reason why he didn't take action was that there was no murderous aura in her. Second, he always felt that the person just now was a little familiar, as if he had seen him before. Of course, this was just his feeling, there was no reason and no basis. Qianni, what's wrong with you? Liu Feishue saw him staring out the window in a daze, so she walked over and patted him on the shoulder. I'm fine, fifth sister. Jiang Qianni turned his head and smiled at her. Looking at the pajamas that his fifth sister was wearing, Jiang Qianni almost had a nosebleed. It's not that he is so dark. Faced with such a scene, I guess no normal man can withstand it. Fortunately, he has enough self-control. It seems that living with his sisters in the future will help him cultivate his self-control. Seeing Jiang Qianni like this, Liu Feishue stood there at a loss, her face slightly flushed. She forgot that Jiang Qianni is now a normal man. Liu Feishue, the special training instructor who was known as the Black Rose of the battlefield and who was so confident, proud and unrestrained in front of the male soldiers of the Yanlong Special Forces, would actually blush in front of Jiang Qianni. Even she herself didn't know why this happened. Aham tilde fifth sister. When are you going to carry out that mission? Jiang Qianni pretended to cough twice casually and changed the subject. At the same time, it also broke the slightly awkward atmosphere. Oh. I will return to Kyoto at noon tomorrow and leave in the afternoon. Liu Feishue came back to his senses at this time and said absent-mindedly. Are we going to K City on the southwest border? Rescue a scientist. You? How did you know? Liu Feishue widened her eyes, looking extremely surprised. These were all secrets, and she didn't understand how Jiang Qianni knew them. He. Keep it a secret. Jiang Qianni smiled obscenely. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. You must be more careful when carrying out the mission tomorrow. We will wait for your triumphant return. Well, it's still early, go to sleep for a while, I'm leaving first. After Jiang Qianni finished speaking, he left Liu Feishue's room. The reason why he asked this question just now was to confirm whether what Su Yuqing said was true or false. Looking at Jiang Qianni's leaving back, Liu Feishue felt an indescribable feeling in her heart. She was very happy that Jiang Qianni recovered from his illness. But Jiang Qianni's performance that day made her a little worried. It is not a good thing for a person to be too strong. Because he will be exposed to things that ordinary people cannot touch, and he will also be exposed to dangers that ordinary people cannot touch. So in Liu Feishue's mind, she still hopes that Jiang Qianni is an ordinary person and lives a peaceful life. But now it seems that this is probably impossible. Liu Feishue had no way to stop it. All she could do was to try her best to help and support him. Equals. At this time, in a thatched house in the suburbs of Magic City. This thatched house is very small and simple. Apart from being able to block out the wind, I'm afraid it can't block out anything else. And there's nothing inside except an old, outdated oil lamp and a single bed. There is a person sitting on this bed. This person is the mysterious man who just escaped from Jiang Qianni. At this time, she had already taken off the black nightgown she had just worn, revealing her fairy-like beautiful face. She was so beautiful that it was breathtaking and intoxicating. If you compare her with her sisters in Jiang Qianni, she will definitely not be inferior. Looking at her wrist, she realized that Jiang Qianni had just used a lot of force, and several bruises appeared on her right wrist. If he had used a little more force, it would probably have broken on the spot. Isn't there something wrong with this kid's brain? How did he suddenly become so powerful? A Xian-level expert. This is too incredible. Looking at her injured arm, the beautiful woman muttered to herself, her face full of confusion and puzzlement. Everything I was going to do today was interrupted by this kid. How hateful. Looking at the note in her hand, the beautiful woman frowned and even complained to Jiang Qianni. Forget it, I'll go to K-City myself. Instead of stopping her, it's better to help her. After a pause, the beauty seemed to have made some decision. She blew out the oil lamp on the ground, stood up and walked into the sports car in front of the thatched hut. Buzz tilde. With a loud roar of the engine, the sports car sped away towards the distant dawn. Chapter 17. The Su family comes for help. R tilde har tilde. When the first ray of sunlight in the morning shone through the window onto Jiang Qianni's face, he woke up. He stretched himself, and although he had only slept for 3 hours, it was enough. Now he felt refreshed and energetic. This was the first time since his rebirth that he could sleep at home and lie on the bed to have a comfortable sleep without any worries. You don't have to sleep on a tree and be exposed to wind and rain, and you don't have to worry about mutant beasts or poisonous insects suddenly attacking you. Downstairs, the servants had already prepared a sumptuous breakfast. After greeting his sisters, Jiang Qianni grabbed the food on the table and stuffed it into his mouth like a hungry tiger. Have you seen today's news? Something happened in Shanghai. Not long after, Chen Kasin hurriedly walked in from outside. Something happened. What happened? Shangguan Wana asked. The Song family was wiped out overnight. More than 30 members of the family were killed in the Song family manor. What? The Song family was destroyed. Who did this? Liu Feishue was shocked after hearing this. The Song family could be said to be their number one enemy in the Magic City. The annihilation of the entire family was indeed great news for them. I don't know. Chen Kasin shook his head. In just one night, the Song family was gone. This is too scary. Having said that, he sat down on the stool. Third sister, what are you afraid of? The Song family has been destroyed. Shouldn't this be good news for you? Jiang Qianni said after taking a sip of coffee. What do you know? Why did they want to destroy the Song family? Was it for profit? Or for something else? The Demon City has such a powerful force. If they set their sights on us one day, wouldn't we be at their mercy? Third sister, your worry is quite reasonable, but don't worry too much, they won't do anything to you. Eh? Qianni, how can you be so sure? Could it be tilde? Chen Kasin couldn't help but widen his eyes when he thought of this. She had seen Jiang Qianni's strength, and he had made enemies with the Song family yesterday, so she couldn't help but connect the two together. He told her third sister, "What are you talking about? How could it be me? I mean, you are all beautiful, how could the other party have the heart to attack you? Everyone loves beauty, isn't that right?" TSK smooth talker. After hearing this, Chen Kasin glanced at him with disdain. It was obvious that she believed what he said, because she didn't believe that Jiang Qianni had done this in the first place. "Third sister, do you suspect that Qianni did it? Isn't this funny?" "That's right, third sister, your joke has no technical content at all." Bai Yunmeng and Luo Qingwu said something each. Neither of them, Qing Yuxuan, nor Mu Ziying had ever seen Jiang Qianni's strength, so Chen Kasin's words seemed so funny and unrealistic to the four of them. He. Doesn't this ease the atmosphere? Chen Kasin smiled and didn't tell them the situation. They wouldn't believe it anyway. They should understand it in the future. "Chairman, there are two people outside looking for Jiang Qianni." At this time, a servant walked into the hall from outside and said to Chen Kasin, "Looking for Qianni? Who are they?" "It's Su Zhenghao, the young master of the Su family, and Su Yuqing, the eldest daughter of the Su family. And judging from their looks, they seem to be in a hurry." "Su Zhenghao? Su Yuqing? What are they looking for Qianni for?" Chen Kasin frowned and looked at the other people at the table in confusion. "Oh, they're finally here." Jiang Qianni wasn't surprised at all, and seemed very confident. "Didn't I tell you yesterday? We'll have guests at home today." "Oh. I understand." Liu Feishua nodded as if she had suddenly realized something. "You said yesterday that Su Xuanyuan's condition would relapse. Could it be? Oh my god, is it possible that what Qianni said yesterday was true?" Bai Yunmeng said in surprise after hearing this. Others felt the same way, all of them felt it was a little unbelievable. "Okay, I'm going to go greet the guests." Jiang Qianni ignored them, stuffed the remaining half of the steamed bun into his mouth, stood up and walked out. Su Zhenghao and the other person were standing outside the gate at this time, and they looked very respectful, without any of the style of young masters and young ladies from a big family. "Master Su, Miss Su, what rare guests, what rare guests." Jiang Qianni pretended to know nothing and went out to greet them with a smile. "Qianni, Yuqing told me what happened last night. We have been worried sick for the past 2 days. Thank you so much." Su Zhenghao thanked him from the bottom of his heart. Su Yuqing has been spoiled by him, his father and his grandfather since he was a child. If something really happened, who knows what would happen to their Su family. So that's how it is. This is what I should do, you're welcome. Jiang Qianni said with a smile, "Besides, this little beggar in your family is quite cute." "Hey, Jiang Qianni, if you dare to call me like that again, be careful or I'll beat you up." Su Yuqing shouted. "Yuqing, how can you talk to me like that?" Su Zhenghao pretended to be angry and pushed her, then his face was immediately filled with a flattering smile. "Qianni, don't bother with her. Actually, I came here today Tilder. Tell me, what is Mr. Su's condition today?" Before Su Zhenghao finished speaking, Jiang Qianni interrupted him. He knew very well that Su Shenyuan's condition must have worsened. "Okay Qianni. First of all, I want to say sorry to you for what happened yesterday." Su Zhenghao nodded, apologized to Jiang Qianni first, and then continued. "When Grandpa got home last night, he felt a little dizzy. At the time, he thought he had drunk too much, so he didn't take it seriously. But this morning, Grandpa fell into a coma. No matter how we called him, he wouldn't wake up. He was like a vegetable. Wang Wuxue gave him a few injections, but it didn't work at all. Last night you told Yuqing that if you have any problem, you can come to you, so I know that you must be confident. That's why I came to ask you for help. I hope you can go home with me to save my grandfather, okay?" After hearing his words, Jiang Qianni nodded with certainty. "It's almost the same as I thought. Su Laozhong should have the golden silkworm GU. Golden silkworm GU? Is there really such a poison in this world?" Su Zhenghao shouted. He never dreamed that this legendary thing would actually happen before his eyes. "Yes, this kind of witchcraft is definitely real," Jiang Qianni said, "and the methods of poisoning are varied, making it hard to guard against. Once poisoned, it is impossible to live or die, and then slowly die in extreme pain. I have seen it with my own eyes, so I know how terrible it is. Although your grandfather is unconscious, his body and mind are suffering greatly." Jiang Qianni's words made the brother and sister dumbfounded. Especially Su Zhenghao, As a golden youth of the Magic City, at this moment, he actually felt so insignificant and ignorant. He originally thought that he had a very clear understanding of the world, but now, he feels like a frog in a well. Chapter 18, a needle technique never seen before. In the end, Jiang Qianni did not refuse too much. He said goodbye to his sisters and left with the Su brothers and sisters. The Su family's manor is located in the suburbs of Magic City. This place is far away from the hustle and bustle of the city, but not too quiet like the suburbs, making it very suitable for family living. Moreover, it looks very majestic from the outside. Except for its worst geographical location, it is on par with the Song family's manor. Under the guidance of the Su brothers and sisters, Jiang Qianni walked through the garden outside as if he was walking through a maze. The interior of the Su family manor can only be described as magnificent and noble, with dignity evident in every detail. According to Su Zhenghao, this place was specially decorated by a master, and the decoration cost alone was as much as 100 million yuan. "Master, miss, you're back." The bodyguard at the door saw them coming and greeted them respectfully. "Yes." Su Zhenghao nodded, glanced at Jiang Qianni and said, "This is my friend, he is here to treat Grandpa." After saying that, he took Jiang Qianni in and came to Su Xuanyuan's room. Wang Wuxue and Xie Feng were standing in front of the window at this time, with their heads down and not saying a word. They looked embarrassed, and their expressions of worry and fear were beyond words. "Master and Miss, you are back. Mr. Jiang, you are here too." Seeing the three people coming over, Wang Wuxue hurriedly walked over with a smile, without any demeanor of a medical sage, because he really was powerless now. Su Xuanyuan's pulse was sticky, which was obviously caused by fright. But he didn't know how to treat it, and he didn't even know why Mr. Su was frightened when he was in a coma. Su Zhenghao just glanced at him and pushed him away. In his eyes, Wang Wuxue was a quack who couldn't treat anything. It was a pity that they were so grateful to him yesterday. "Jenny, come and take a look." Pushing Wang Wuxue aside, Su Zhenghao's tone became calm and gentle. "It's the golden silkworm Jiu for sure." Jiang Qianni saw Su Xuanyuan's appearance at this moment and confirmed his thoughts again. He walked up to Wang Wuxue and said, "Master Wang, can you lend me your needle?" After hearing this, Wang Wuxue took out a small bag from his pocket and handed it over without saying a word. He is a sinner now and dares not say a word. With the Su family's strength and extensive network of contacts, he can lose all his reputation in an instant. "Thank you." Jiang Qianni took the needle bag and thanked him politely. Walking to Su Xuanyuan's bed, Jiang Qianni half knelt down, pulled out 9 silver needles from Wang Wushue's small bag, and held them all in his right hand. Sure tilde. Jiang Qianni turned his wrist flexibly, and in just a moment, 9 silver needles were inserted into different acupuncture points on Su Lao's body. "What kind of needlework is this?" Wang Wuxue, who was standing by, saw this scene and widened his eyes in disbelief. As a doctor, he has learned and researched all the traditional Chinese acupuncture techniques from ancient times to the present in Yanxia country, whether they have been lost or not. However, he had never seen Jiang Qianni's acupuncture technique before. But what he was sure of was that Jiang Qianni's medical skills had reached the peak 100%, and he was a genius doctor at the sage level, which was almost non-existent in the world today. After Jiang Qianni had inserted 9 silver needles, his 2 hands slowly rotated on them, continuously transmitting true energy into Su Xuanyuan's body. This action may seem simple, but in fact it is harder than climbing to the sky. It is estimated that no one else in the world can do this except Jiang Qianni. Wow! Not long after, Su Xuanyuan started to move, his eyes open wide and his mouth open wide, like a walking zombie, very scary. After a while, several white bugs crawled out of his eyes and mouth. It was really like a horror movie. After the worm was forced out of Su Xuanyuan's body, it was still wriggling on the bed, covered with a thick layer of mucus, which was more disgusting than a maggot. When the Su siblings and Master Wang Wuxue and his apprentice saw this scene, they collapsed in surprise, their mouths opened so wide that an apple could be stuffed in. Sure tilde. Jiang Qianni waved his hand, and 9 silver needles seemed to be sucked in. They flew out of Su Xuanyuan's body at the same time and lay quietly in Jiang Qianni's hand. At the same time, Su Xuanyuan also woke up. Ahem. Oh my god, what a nightmare. Su Xuanyuan sat up from the bed as if nothing had happened and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Grandpa, you're okay, that's great. Upon seeing this, Su Zhenghao and his sister ran over happily. Huh? Yuqing? You're back. After seeing Su Yuqing, Su Xuanyuan's eyes lit up and he slapped himself hard. He thought he was dreaming, but when he felt the pain, he realized it was real. Su Yuqing was standing right in front of him, safe and sound. Grandpa, we all have to thank Jenny. If it weren't for him, who knows what would happen to Yuqing, and you don't know when you will wake up. Su Zhenghao told Su Xianyuan the whole story of the two incidents. So that's how it is. Su Xianyuan nodded, stood up from the bed, walked to Jiang Qianni, took his hand and said, Qianni, thank you so much. I hope you don't mind the unpleasantness yesterday. From now on, you are Su family's greatest benefactor. Mr. Su is seriously ill. This is what I should do. Look, this is the root of your illness. Jiang Qianni said, handing him a small box. It contained the poisonous insects that had just been driven out. But after all, he didn't know this kind of terrible witchcraft, let alone how to raise these things, so the poisonous insects quickly lost their vitality and died in the box. Could it be these bugs that are causing me to have nightmares and keep me awake? Yes, it's called the golden silkworm GU. It specifically parasitizes the human brain, and by gnawing at your brain, it causes you to have nightmares from which you can't wake up. After a while, you gradually lose consciousness and slowly die in agony. Oh my god, it's so scary. After listening to Jiang Qianni's narration, Su Xianyuan couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. You know, ordinary people would be scared to death if they had a nightmare, but Su Xianyuan was having nightmares all the time, and the most important thing was that he couldn't wake up. This kind of torture can't be felt without experiencing it personally. Qianni, then why do you think there is such a horrible thing in my body? Su Xianyuan asked worriedly. Having experienced torture once, he really didn't want to suffer it a second time. That feeling was worse than death. As for this question, I'm afraid you should ask yourself. Ask myself. What does that mean? The meaning is simple, you have been framed. Chapter 19, The Doomsday Ghost and Soul Stealing Needle. After hearing Jiang Qianni's words, Su Xianyuan felt so incredible. The Su family has always been low-key and has done a lot of charity work. Whether it is the family forces in the Magic City or the ordinary people, they all received help from the Su family. He really couldn't imagine who would use such a cruel method to deal with him. Qianni, I really can't think of who would frame me. Our Su family doesn't have any enemies. Su Xianyuan said. That's strange. Have you come into contact with anyone recently? The poison is terrible and mysterious. Ordinary families don't have the ability and strength to raise it, so the person who poisoned it must be from a big family that is no less powerful than yours. Grandpa, could it be the Song family? At this time, Su Zhenghao was standing aside. As if she had thought of something, she screamed in surprise. Song family. Jiang Qianni frowned. All the recent events were related to the Song family. He couldn't help but become interested in this matter. Yes. Su Zhenghao nodded. Just 2 days ago, Song Zhenyan, the head of the Song family, suddenly came to visit us and wanted to discuss cooperation with us. I was wondering why he suddenly came to show his goodwill when our two families have never had any connection. It turns out it's because of this. Then apart from the Song family, has Mr. Su not come into contact with any other outsiders in the past 2 days? No more. Su Zhenghao shook his head with certainty. Grandpa seldom went out these past 2 days. Apart from the Song family, he has not come into contact with anyone else. Then this matter was most likely done by the Song family. Jiang Qianni said, but when I was at the Song family yesterday, I didn't find anything suspicious. Could it be? Was it done by the organization behind the Song family? Jiang Qianni can be said to be very regretful now. Knowing that so many things would happen, only one person was left alive last night. Now there is no living person in the Song family, so this matter will probably be much more difficult to handle. Okay Qianni, now that the Song family is destroyed and there is no evidence, let's just let this matter go. Let's go have lunch, and our Su family would like to thank you very much. Su Zhenghao patted Jiang Qianni on the shoulder and interrupted his thoughts. Forget it, I have things to do when I get home. Let's do it another day. No matter what happens, we have to eat before leaving. Su Xianyuan also came over at this time, and Wang Wushui had obviously been ignored by them. Mr. Su, I really have to leave right away. I have something important to do. I will come visit you again when I have time. Okay then. Su Xianyuan nodded. Zhenghao, Yuqing, send Qianni off for me. Mr. Su, I'll take my leave now. Jiang Qianyi said, and then left surrounded by Su Zhenghao and Su Yuqing. Mr. Jiang. Please stay. Just as he reached the gate of Su's manor, Wang Wuxue and Xie Feng caught up with him from behind, panting. Master Wang, is there anything wrong? Jiang Qianyi asked. Godly doctor, please accept my greeting. Wang Wuxue said, and knelt down directly to Jiang Qianyi. This is not perfunctory, it is absolutely from his heart. He is at the level of a medical master, and his terrifying acupuncture skills that have been passed down from somewhere unknown. I'm afraid there is no one else like him on this earth. Wang Wuxue really wanted to slap himself hard twice now. It was ridiculous that he showed off in front of a real master last night. Forget it. This matter cannot be entirely blamed on you. After all, you have never come into contact with this kind of thing. It is understandable that you don't believe it. Yi Qing waved his hand and said, Thank you, Mr. Jiang, for your understanding. Wang Wuxue bowed and nodded to express his gratitude. By the way, Mr. Jiang, may I know what acupuncture method you just used? This acupuncture technique is called Ghost Hand Soul Stealing Needle. Oh? What kind of acupuncture is this? I've never heard of it. Well, I'll tell you later when I have time. I have something else to do now. You guys go back first. Well then, I'll take my leave. Master Su, Miss Su, I'll take my leave. Wang Wuxue did not disobey at all. He agreed immediately, said goodbye, and left with Xie Feng. In fact, it's not that Jiang Qianyi didn't want to tell Wang Wuxue, but that he didn't know how to say it. The Ghost Hand Soul Stealing Needle is a method of Chinese acupuncture that only appeared at the end of the world, so Wang Wuxue had no way of knowing about it. The so-called soul stealing actually has two meanings. First, in terms of medicine, it can save lives, cure various difficult and complicated diseases, and bring back the souls of dying people from the hands of death. The second is that in martial arts, it can be used as a hidden weapon to easily take the lives of enemies or ferocious beasts. The ghost hand symbolizes speed. Whether it is saving people or killing people, the techniques and speed are always very fast. That is why this kind of acupuncture is called the Ghost Hand Soul Stealing Needle by people in the last days. People who practice this acupuncture method must have martial arts skills that reach the Shen level or above, otherwise the aura in their body will not be enough to perform this acupuncture method. Fortunately, Jiang Qianyi had a breakthrough last night, otherwise he would only be able to use the most primitive acupuncture technique. This method is time-consuming and laborious, and compared with the Ghost Hand Soul Snatching Needle, there is a world of difference. Looking at the slightly dejected figures of Wang Wuxue and his apprentice, Jiang Qianyi said, Master Su, you shouldn't hate Wang Wuxue too much. His medical skills are top-notch in today's society. It's just that this poison is too mysterious and he has never encountered it before. I understand, Qianyi. I didn't expect you to be so generous. You didn't even hold a grudge against him for what he said yesterday. He is a bit arrogant. But no matter who you are, standing at the top of an industry, it is inevitable that you will be a bit arrogant. After this incident, I think he should be more restrained. Okay, let's get in the car, I'll take you home. Hey, where's Yuqing? Su Zhenghao realized at this time that Su Yuqing was gone. I don't know where this little girl is, we don't care about her. Buzzed Tilder. As soon as he finished speaking, a pink Ferrari sports car stopped in front of the two of them. Su Yuqing poked her head out and said, Brother, let me take Jiang Qianyi back. You? Can you do it? Jiang Qianyi came over, looking embarrassed. People say that the prettier the female driver, the higher her killer level. For someone like you, you have to be an SSS plus level road killer. Hey! Who are you looking down on? Get in the car, I'll show you my true strength. I don't dare joke with my life. If I die in your hands, who will I turn to for justice? Humph Tilder, I knew you, Jiang Qianyi, are a coward. If you don't want to sit down, forget it. Do you think I'm willing to send you off? Wait. Who are you calling a coward? I'm just sitting in your car. What's so scary about me? It's real. Jiang Qianyi was provoked by her and opened the car door and got in. Be careful on the road and drive slowly. Su Zhenghao was helpless. He always felt like an outsider. He gave them a warning and watched them leave. Looking at their gradually leaving backs, Su Zhenghao shook his head helplessly. Having lived with Su Yuqing for 20 years, he knows his sister very well. Now he can only say that Jiang Qianyi got a good deal. Chapter 20 Arrival at the Primeval Forest. Little beggar, I have to say that your driving skills are really good. You can almost compete with me. Sitting in Su Yuqing's car, Jiang Qian's initially nervous mood gradually relaxed. The Ferrari darted in and out of the traffic, coming and going freely. Su Yuqing's driving skills have obviously reached the level of perfection, and should not be at the killer level. That's right. I, Su Yuqing, am a top-notch racer in the Magic City Racing Association. Su Yuqing patted her chest, feeling very proud. Also, how many times have I told you not to call me a little beggar? Yes, little beggar. Oh my god, you're still screaming. I can't help it. When I see you, I think of what happened that night, and then I unconsciously think of the little beggar. You are so hateful. Su Yuqing yelled, then drifted and turned directly into another road. Jiang Qian was caught off guard and his head hit the car door. If he hadn't been wearing a seatbelt, he would have been thrown out of the window. You little beggar, you are playing tricks on me, right? Jiang Qian rubbed his forehead, it hurt. How dare you call me that? Do you still want to be punished? No, Miss Su, I was wrong, okay? Just drive carefully. TSK, that's better. Can't I do anything to you? After hearing this, Su Yuqing showed a smile of victory. As the Ferrari sped along, Su Yuqing quickly used a beautiful drift and spin to park the car accurately in front of Jiang Qian's house. That's a pretty good driving skill, little beggar. Thank you, I'll retreat first. After Jiang Qian got out of the car, he changed his name to her again and walked straight in. Jiang Qian, you bastard! Su Yuqing yelled while looking at his back. She swore to find an opportunity to teach this guy a lesson. Jiang Qian pretended not to hear it, and walked straight into the door without even turning his head. Qian, you're back. How is Mr. Su? Seeing him come back, Chen Kasin hurried over and asked. Don't worry, I will definitely cure the disease in no time. By the way, where is the fifth sister? Your fifth sister had a mission and just left. Do you have anything to do with her? Nothing, just asking. Jiang Qian rolled his eyes and said, Third sister, I need to go out for a while, can you lend me your car? Hey, be careful. Chen Kasin handed him the car keys in his pocket without any hesitation. Don't worry, third sister. I won't be back tonight. Don't wait for me. After saying that, Jiang Qian strode out again. Although Chen Kasin is the richest among the sisters. But he is also the most low-key, driving a Porsche. Although it is a bit inferior compared with other luxury cars, it can instantly surpass Rolls-Royce and Bentley when placed alone on the road. Along the way, Jiang Qian hardly ever stepped on the brakes except when waiting for red lights. The road was smooth and no one dared to compete with him, so Jiang Qian arrived in K City before it got dark. After parking the car, Jiang Qian walked into the forest alone. Except for those high-performance off-road vehicles, if other cars drove in, there would be only one consequence, and that was that they would be scrapped. This forest can be said to be a true primitive jungle, seldom visited by humans, and with an unusually large number of venomous snakes and ferocious beasts. Now there is a pile of something similar to bear dung under Jiang Qian's feet, and he can hear a few wolf howls not far away, which feels a bit creepy. But for Jiang Qian, this is no different from staying at home. As a doomsday warrior, he spends almost every day in the jungle. According to his memory, before his rebirth, he had not left the jungle for at least half a year. So when he came here, Jiang Qian was not afraid at all. Instead, he felt a little excited and even a little friendly. As Jiang Qian went deeper into the jungle, the trees began to grow closer together, and the number of animals around him also increased. Roar tilde. Followed by a deafening roar. A 2-meter-tall black bear jumped out from the side, baring its teeth and grinning at Jiang Qian, and drooling, obviously very hungry. TSK. You can't do that. Jiang Qian shook his head and raised his middle finger at it. The black bear seemed to understand Jiang Qian's provocative action. It roared towards the sky again, and then quickly pounced towards Jiang Qian. I have to say, although this guy looks big and clumsy, his movements are really fast. In the blink of an eye, he came in front of Jiang Qian, and his 2 huge bear paws grabbed him directly. Jiang Qian dodged its attack with a flash, then turned around and came behind it. When the black bear turned around and wanted to attack again, it was frozen in place as if it had been cast under a spell. It let out a high-pitched cry, fell to the ground and twitched, and soon lost its life. Alas, tilde bears of this era are too weak. Jiang Qianyi shook his head, feeling a little unsatisfied. He just used a silver needle made of kingdom water and inserted it into the bear's heart, and the bear died. You should know that in the last days, the earth was invaded by foreign viruses and animals mutated. Just like this black bear, at the end of the world, it can stand as tall as 2 people and can easily kill a modern elephant. Humans without the strength of the late Shen level cannot compete with it at all. The mutant black bear's vitality is extremely strong, and it usually takes several consecutive fatal wounds to kill it. So this modern black bear, in Jiang Qianyi's opinion, is really too weak. It is simply vulnerable. After killing the black bear, Jiang Qianyi took out a dagger from his waist, cut off the bear's leg, roasted it for dinner, and ate it while waiting for the arrival of the Flame Dragon Special Forces. As time passed, night soon fell and darkness enveloped the entire Primeval Forest, making the already desolate environment even more desolate. Night is also the favorite environment for poisonous snakes and ferocious beasts. They usually come out to look for food at this time. The howling of wolves became more and more frequent, and the howling of bears was incessant. Add to that the eagles circling in the sky and the crows, and the place became extremely eerie and terrifying. Ulala tilde. Ulala tilde. Under the cover of night, several helicopters arrived above the Primeval Forest and hovered above it. Soon, nearly 30 fully armed fighters zip-lined down from 2 transport planes. After they all landed, the helicopter climbed to a higher altitude and returned the same way, leaving silence to the forest once again. Sitting on a tree, playing with a captured poisonous snake, Jiang Qianyi could see the landing site of the Flame Dragon Special Forces clearly. Although it was 3 or 4 kilometers away from him, in Jiang Qianyi's eyes, it was still too close. Standing up from the tree, Jiang Qianyi swung around on the tree like a monkey, and soon caught up with the Yanlong Special Forces. He followed them and moved deeper into the forest. Chapter 21. Someone is still helping the 5th sister. I have to say, the treatment of Yanxia's No. 1 Special Forces team is different. The combat uniforms of the Yanlong Special Forces are all made of special materials. There are also night vision goggles and infrared detection equipment. They are equipped with all the most advanced individual weapons developed by Yanxia country. These equipments alone cost millions for each person. Although the Yanlong Special Forces is one of the best in Yanxia and even in the whole world. But in the eyes of Jiang Qianyi and other martial arts practitioners, he is still too weak. Except for Liu Feixue, no one among them has entered the martial arts realm. If they have not entered the martial arts world, it proves that they have not yet cultivated the true qi in their dantian. Even if they are strong, they are no match for martial arts practitioners. If there was no Liu Feixue, any warrior who had just entered the early initial stage would be able to destroy them all. This is the difference between warriors and ordinary people. Jiang Qianyi hid his breath and followed them behind a tree not far away. He doesn't care about the life and death of others, he only cares about Liu Feixue. As long as the 5th sister is in danger, he will take action without hesitation. This is also the main purpose of his coming here. Sure tilde. Suddenly, Liu Feixue, who was walking in front, stretched out her hand and made a stop gesture. Then he pressed his palm downwards, and all the Special Forces members behind him crawled on the ground and hid. Captain, what's wrong? Chen Long walked up and asked. He was the deputy captain of the Yanlong Special Forces, and he was about to enter the realm of martial arts. I sense a hint of danger. There seems to be signs of true energy flowing ahead. Oh? Are you saying there are martial arts practitioners here? I don't know. Liu Feixue shook her head. It's not very obvious. Maybe I'm just too nervous. Captain, should we continue moving forward? Of course we should. If there is someone ahead, it means we are not far from the hostages. Tell the brothers to be extra careful and not make any noise. I understand. Captain. Chen Long agreed and walked back to pass on Liu Feixue's words. The Yanlong Special Forces were all very respectful to Liu Feixue, and no one had any improper thoughts. They all regarded her as their most beloved captain and instructor. Then, Liu Feixue made another gesture to move forward and led everyone to continue walking forward. It's over, they are going to be surrounded. Jiang Qianyi, who was sitting on a tree not far away, could see everything happening below clearly. The Yanlong Special Forces, led by Liu Feixue, walked into the encirclement step by step. Jiang Qianyi made a rough count and found that there were more than 100 people on the other side. Once they went in, the consequences would be disastrous. Aaron, do you feel something is wrong nearby? At this time, Liu Feishue seemed to have sensed a hint of danger, and the entire team stopped again. Jiang Qianni, who originally wanted to give them some reminders in secret, had to stop. Captain, I feel it. I always feel that someone is watching us nearby. Chen Long looked around and said. We may have walked into the enemy's encirclement. Liu Feishue frowned and said, Along, hurry up, order the rear team to become the front team, retreat quickly. Yes. Chen Long answered, then notified the Special Forces team to immediately change direction and retreat along the original route. Tatat tilde. Tatat tilde. At this time, the enemy seemed to realize that they were about to run, and spewed flames at them from several directions. The Flame Dragon Special Forces was caught off guard and 7 or 8 people fell in an instant. Lie down, take turns to cover the retreat. Quick! 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 Liu Feishue lay on the ground, fighting back while loudly directing the battle. Swish, swish, swish tilde. At this time, hundreds of people rushed out from the north, east and west of the Yanlong Special Forces at the same time, rushing towards them like a suicide squad. Fortunately, Liu Feishue did not continue to move forward, and there was still a retreat route behind them. Retreat, retreat! Liu Feishue shouted. She and Chen Long were the rearguard and were in the greatest danger. Almost all of the enemy's bullets were aimed at them. Not long after, Chen Long was hit in the calf. Chen Long, who was retreating at high speed, suddenly rushed forward. Aaron, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Liu Feishue quickly stopped and asked with concern. Captain, my leg is injured. Take the brothers away. No, Xiao Li, come and carry Chen Long on your back. Yes. Captain. A Special Forces member named Xiao Li answered, ran back, and retreated again with Chen Long on his back. Sure tilde. At this moment, a person suddenly appeared not far from them. This man didn't have a gun, but was holding a shiny dagger in his hand. But he was very fast, and his body movements were superb. Facing the firepower attacks of several people from the Flame Dragon Special Forces, he seemed to be at ease. He came in front of them in an instant, and with a wave of his right hand, the two men's necks were cut. It is obvious that this is a martial arts practitioner, and his realm has even reached the middle yellow level. After he made his move, several warriors in the late initial stage jumped out from the surroundings. In front of them, the Flame Dragon Special Forces was simply vulnerable and more than half of their soldiers were lost in a moment. Hetilder they finally came out. Jiang Qianni, who was standing not far away, smiled disdainfully. Those people with guns could hardly cause any harm to Liu Feishue. The biggest threat to them were the warriors hiding in the dark. They were the real enemies. So Jiang Qianni didn't take any action until all these people were exposed in front of him, and then he named them one by one. Captain, these people are too powerful, what should we do? Xiao Li, who was carrying Chen Long on his back, seemed a little panicked. It was not because he was afraid of death, but because these people were too terrifying. They could even dodge rifle bullets. Are they still human? These people are all martial arts practitioners. It seems that this is a conspiracy against our Yanlong Special Forces. Liu Feishue said, I'm afraid we will all die here today. Liu Feishue knew that she was surrounded by so many warriors. There was no way she could rush out no matter what. In fact, when she learned about the mission, she already felt something was wrong, but she was a soldier and military orders were as heavy as mountains. Even if she knew there was a tiger in the mountain, she would still rush forward without hesitation. This is the bloodiness of the soldiers of Yanxia country. However, as soon as Liu Feishue finished her words, a man with a dagger came towards her. Although he was only a warrior in the late beginner stage, he was more than capable of dealing with Liu Feishue. Sure tilde. At this moment, something like a flying knife, with the help of the moonlight, cut through the night sky and pierced into the warrior's heart at the speed of a rocket. Liu Feishue looked at this man falling in front of her, which seemed so incredible. She knew that this attack could never be carried out by the members of the Flame Dragon Special Forces. There must be someone around helping her. Jiang Qianni, who was sitting on a tree not far away, felt the same incredible as Liu Feishue, because he did not kill the warrior at all. Chapter 22, Helping makes things more trouble. What's going on? Is there someone nearby helping my fifth sister? Jiang Qianni muttered in confusion while sitting on the tree. Just now he had already taken Wang Guoshui's silver needle in his hand. Just as I was about to throw it out, I saw a bright light, and then the warrior next to the fifth sister died. Looking at the direction where the flying knife was thrown, Jiang Qianni did not find anything unusual. He really couldn't figure out who else could be secretly helping his fifth sister besides himself. Swish, swish, swish tilde. Just at the moment when Jiang Qianni was distracted, 3 more flying knives flew out from the previous direction and accurately hit the 3 late-stage warriors beside Liu Feishue. This time, Jiang Qianni successfully found the man's hiding place, which was on a tree not far away from him. But the night was too dark. Jiang Qianni only saw a shadow of a person and did not see his appearance clearly. Since there are still people in the dark, there is no need for me to take action. Jiang Qianni said this, and then he lay down on the tree branch, crossed his legs and started watching the game. Although their goals are the same, they don't know whether the other party is an enemy or a friend, and why they are doing this. So on the premise of making sure that his fifth sister is safe, Jiang Qianni is not prepared to expose himself for the time being. As flying knives streaked across the night sky, the warriors fell to the ground one after another, providing good cover for Liu Feishue and the Yanlong special forces to retreat. Damn it, someone is attacking at 12 o'clock. Leave 2 people to lead the main force to continue chasing the Flame Dragon special forces. The rest of you come with me and make sure to capture that person. The mysterious man on the tree kept shooting arrows from behind. Finally, the warrior in the middle stage of the yellow rank discovered her, and he led his men to chase in the direction where he had landed. Hey, we've been discovered. Jiang Qianni smiled with some gloating in the tree. Then he stood up and continued to follow in the direction Liu Feishue retreated. Although there were only 2 warriors left tracking them, they were still not someone they could withstand. What's more, behind these 2 warriors there are more than 100 fully armed men with live ammunition. As for the mysterious man, it would be a good idea to let him attract the enemy's firepower. If there is time later, it would not be a bad idea to rescue him. Boom tilde. A sound of breaking wind suddenly reached the ears of the 2 warriors who were chasing Liu Feishue. At the same time, a dark shadow flashed past them, scaring them so much that they stopped immediately. Ghost Hand, did you see something flying past you? I think I saw it. Do you see what it is? It seems to be a person. The man called Ghost Hand had obvious hesitation in his words. His nervousness and fear were evident in his expression. Boom tilde. As soon as Ghost Hand finished speaking, there was another sound of breaking wind. But this time, what they saw was not a human figure, but a real person, Jiang Qianni. Hello, both of you? Jiang Qianni smiled and greeted them very gentlemanly. Who are you? It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that you are going to die soon. You want to kill us? Do you know who we are? This is exactly the question I want to ask. This action is a conspiracy of the Song family in Modu, but I know that there must be someone behind them. HMPH tilde you're smart. Ghost Hand sneered, in our eyes, the Song family is nothing but a puppet. I advise you not to get involved in this matter and don't cause trouble for yourself. I don't care about what happens to you. I just want to protect my sister. If you want to hurt my fifth sister, no matter who you are, you will not survive. Your fifth sister? Liu Feishue. Ghost Hand frowned slightly. It was the first time he heard that Liu Feishue had a younger brother, and this younger brother's strength was even higher than hers. Yes, if you want to hurt her, you will have to leave your bodies behind. Swish, swish, swish tilde. However, as soon as Jiang Qianni finished speaking, hundreds of armed men followed him. More than 100 automatic firearms were pointed at Jiang Qianni. I'm going to advise you one last time, don't get involved, or you can't blame us. Looking at the fully armed personnel behind him, Ghost Hand felt more confident. At such a close distance and with such dense firepower, even their leader, a mid-yellow rank warrior, might not be able to dodge it. Captain, look, it seems someone has helped us intercept those people. At this time, the Yanlong Special Forces team had already run hundreds of meters away. A Special Forces member who was left behind immediately reported this scene to Liu Feishue. Liu Feishue immediately stopped after hearing this. She actually wanted to see who was helping her secretly. Qianni? Why is he here? Although she only saw a silhouette in the dark through the telescope, after so many years of getting along, Liu Feishue recognized him at a glance. Turning around, Liu Feishue said, "Brothers, take the deputy captain and leave first. Wait for me outside the forest. I'll go over and take a look." "No, Captain, it's too dangerous." "Captain, if we go, we'll go together. We'll live and die together." Not only Xiao Li and Chen Long, almost all the Special Forces members disagreed. They had seen with their own eyes how powerful these people were. Liu Feishue was no match for them. All right, I'm the captain. Besides, I've already reached the realm of martial arts. Even if I can't win, I have the ability to escape. If you go, you'll be a burden to me. Listen to my orders, everyone retreat. Okay then, Captain, you must be careful. As the deputy captain, Chen Long took the lead in making the decision and agreed. Don't worry, just go. Liu Feishue watched the others leave, then raised his gun and went back the same way. At this moment, Jiang Qianni stood in front of this group of people, without a trace of nervousness, and even with a disdainful smile on the corner of his mouth. What is the meaning of Shen-level warriors? It means that their skills have reached a superb level, almost to the point of fantasy. Dealing with these minions holding fire sticks is not much more difficult than crushing a group of ants. Jiang Qianni's figure flashed like a gust of wind. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from their sight, and the other party didn't even have time to fire his gun. It only took 2 breaths. Jiang Qianni appeared in front of them again, with a dagger in his hand. Blood was dripping from the tip of the knife onto the ground. Bang, bang, bang tilde. At the same time, there was a sound of falling to the ground. More than a dozen people in the front row all fell to the ground and lost their lives. You are Shen-level warrior. The ghost hand looked at Jiang Qianni, who was full of hostility in front of him, as if he saw a devil who had just escaped from hell. His feet couldn't help but tremble slightly. You're smart. Tell me who's behind this action. Maybe I'll spare your life if I'm happy. HMPH tilde don't even think about it. I didn't expect you to be such a tough nut to crack. Jiang Qianni smiled disdainfully. I hope you can still be like this later. Tatat tilde. Tatat tilde. As soon as Jiang Qianni finished speaking, a burst of gunfire was heard. Fortunately, Ghost Hand and his companions reacted quickly and dodged the bullet, so it did not hurt them but hit the people behind them. Qianni, run! After killing several people, Liu Feishue shouted loudly at Jiang Qianni. Brothers, shoot that woman! Ghost Hand also noticed the turn of events and shouted loudly. The appearance of Liu Feishue completely broke the situation between the two sides, giving Guisho a glimmer of hope for survival. Chapter 23. Want to run? Impossible. Tatat tilde. Tatat tilde. For a moment, the silent woods became noisy and lively again. More than 100 automatic weapons fired towards Liu Feishue. Ghost Hand knew very well that with Liu Feishue's strength, it would be impossible for her to move through the hail of bullets like Jiang Qianni. Once Jiang Qianni goes to rescue her, they can take the opportunity to leave. It might even be possible to kill Jiang Qianni. This was the first time that Ghost Hand sincerely thanked God. They didn't expect that the person who helped them escape death was actually the opponent they wanted to kill. The more you help, the more trouble you cause. Jiang Qianni looked at Liu Feishue, who was beaten so badly that she couldn't even raise her head, and muttered helplessly. He didn't expect that Liu Feishue would appear here. Looking at the enemy's bullets and rocket launchers, they bombarded them as if they were free. Jiang Qianni had no choice but to rescue the 5th sister first, because her life might be in danger at any time. Sure tilde. Jiang Qianni flashed like a shadow, and in the blink of an eye he arrived at Liu Feishue's hiding place. Qianni? How did you get here? Stop talking nonsense and follow me. Jiang Qianni shouted, grabbed Liu Feishue's arm, exerted force on his feet, and instantly jumped onto the tree. Then he swung between several trees, and in the blink of an eye he ran out of the shooting range of the guns and disappeared. Guisho and his group took this opportunity to run away. They could never have imagined that when they ambushed the Flame Dragon Special Forces, they would actually encounter a powerful Shen-level warrior, who almost wiped out their entire army. 5th sister, why are you here? Jiang Qianni had already put Liu Feishue down from a tree, and there was some resentment in his words. I think you are in danger, can you not come? I'm not in any danger, you know. I was just about to capture them alive and get some information from them, but your arrival completely disrupted my plan. When I saw you from a distance, I thought you were surrounded by them. After hearing what Jiang Qianni said, Liu Feishue realized that she was only making things more troublesome. What a joke! The people who can surround me haven't been born yet. Jiang Qianni said, by the way, 5th sister, just now in the dark, besides me, there was another person helping you. Do you know who it was? There's someone else? I don't know. Liu Feishue shook her head, feeling a little surprised and a little unbelievable. This person has just been discovered, and we don't know what has happened to him yet. Then what should we do now? Liu Feishue asked. Now, she no longer has the demeanor of the Flame Dragon Special Forces captain. She has completely regarded Jiang Qianni as her backbone. Well, fifth sister, you go back first, I'll go check it out myself. You alone? I'd better go with you. No, it's too dangerous ahead. One of them is a mid-level yellow rank warrior, you can't handle it. But you told her. Before Liu Feishue could finish her words, she was interrupted. Don't worry, fifth sister. I will be fine. I want to find out who is behind this. Okay then. Fifth sister will listen to you, but you must be careful. We will be waiting for you at the exit in front. Liu Feishue agreed obediently. She knew very well that following Jiang Qianni would only make her a burden. Jiang Qianni's strength far exceeded hers. Yeah. Jiang Qianni smiled and nodded, then stood up and jumped onto the tree in front of him. Then, like a baboon, he disappeared into the darkness in the blink of an eye. Boom tilde. It was still that familiar sound of breaking wind, and still that familiar black shadow. Jiang Qianni stood in front of the ghost hand again. Although he had just wasted a long time and let these people run far away, with Jiang Qianni's leg strength and speed, it was not difficult to catch up with them. You want to run away before everything is explained clearly? Is that possible? Jiang Qianni put his hands on his hips and said in a gloomy tone, Don't look at me so nervously. Am I that scary? You can just relax. So what are you going to do? It's simple. Kill everyone and then torture you until you reveal the mastermind behind it. Jiang Qianni said it very easily, as if killing someone was a very common fact. After hearing this, Guisho and the others silently greeted Jiang Qianni's family. They were about to kill someone, and they were told not to be nervous. Are there people who are so shameless? Hey! I told you not to be nervous, why are you still looking at me like that? You, stop shaking your legs. It makes me dizzy. And you, if you get any more nervous, you're going to pee your pants. Jiang Qianni put his hands on his hips and laughed sarcastically. You're looking for death. Hit me. And his words completely angered this group of people. Although they are all underworld killers, killers also have the dignity of killers. They can die, but they must never lose their dignity. Suddenly, the woods became lively again. Automatic rifles, rocket launchers, all were fired upon. After a burst of random shooting and bombing, Jiang Qianni had already disappeared from the place where he was just now. Oh tilde. Oh tilde. As waves of screams were heard, the group of killers fell down one after another. They were all stabbed in the throat. They covered their throats and fell down unwillingly, with their eyes wide open, dying with their eyes open. Within 3 minutes, nearly 100 armed killers, plus the warrior with ghost hand, all fell to the ground and lost their lives. The corpses were piled up one on top of the other, forming a mountain. The whole forest exudes a strong smell of blood, it is extremely terrifying. Now the only ones standing are the trembling ghost hand and Jiang Qianni. Roar tilde. The strong smell of blood attracted the attention of the surrounding wolves. After the wolf king's roar that pierced the night sky, hundreds of wild wolves suddenly appeared around Jiang Qianni and Guisho. Countless eyes glowing green, emitting a bone-chilling chill, stared at them hungrily. How about it? Do you want to tell me? Jiang Qianni looked at the ghost hand and said, If you don't tell me who is behind this, I will tie you up here and let the wild wolves eat you up bit by bit. Just think about it, isn't that more enjoyable than being tortured to death? HMPH tilde don't even think about getting any useful clues from me. Ghost hand sneered, then took the dagger and slit Jiang Qianni's neck while he was not paying attention. Fuck. Jiang Qianni yelled and rushed forward to stop it, but it was too late. The ghost hand was no longer breathing. What a terrible group of people. Jiang Qianni shook his head helplessly and sighed. After looking at the wolves around him, Jiang Qianni did not stay any longer. He jumped onto a tree and left. 100 or so corpses were enough for the wolves to have a good meal. Dead without a burial place was probably the way to describe them. Ding 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 tilde. Boom tilde. Just after walking a short distance, Jiang Qianni vaguely heard bursts of noise coming from afar. There were the crisp sounds of daggers colliding, and also the sounds of breaking wind. This should be the mysterious person. How could I almost forget about her? Jiang Qianni slapped his head in self-blame. His figure flashed, and he rushed towards the direction of the sound. Chapter 24, Meet the Mysterious Man Again. Boy, I advise you not to put up any more futile resistance. Just surrender. Maybe I can spare your life. The middle stage yellow level warrior was named Cai Kang. He knew very well that this mysterious man was also a mid-yellow rank warrior like himself. But there are 6 or 7 warriors in the late initial stage behind him. Although they can't provide much help, they can consume the opponent's physical strength, so after a long time, the opponent will definitely not be able to hold on. Impossible. In my dictionary, there is no word surrender. The mysterious person said while resisting their attack. It was obvious that she had taken a breath. Wow. I didn't expect it to be a woman. Chen Kang found it a little unbelievable. This person was dressed in black from head to toe, leaving only 2 eyes. If he hadn't heard her voice, Chen Kang would never have thought that this was a woman. But now looking closely, this person's figure and the bulge on his chest do look like a woman. I, Cai Kang, have always been kind to women. As long as you put down your weapons and follow me back, I promise not to hurt you. How about that? HMPH, forget it. The mysterious man flatly rejected Cai Kang and slashed at him with a dagger. Then don't blame me for being cruel, little girl. Cai Kang said, and launched a more fierce attack on the mysterious man. At this time, Jiang Qianni had already arrived at the battlefield, squatting on a tree not far away, observing the situation below. Is it her? Looking at the mysterious man, Jiang Qianni cried out in surprise. He had seen this person before. She was the woman who sneaked into Fifth Sister's room last night and was chased away by him. Who is she? Why help the Fifth Sister? Her breaking into Fifth Sister's room last night, does it have anything to do with this incident? What is her purpose in doing this? A series of questions kept flashing in Jiang Qianni's mind. The only solution was probably to rescue her from these warriors first and then get to the bottom of it. Watching the battle below, as time went by, the mysterious man gradually showed signs of weakness, and his moves had become somewhat distorted. Sure Tilder. Jiang Qianni seized the opportunity and jumped directly from the tree. With a flip of his wrist, the dagger reflected the moonlight, emitting a bone-chilling coldness, and instantly cut the throats of the 2 people. Who are you? Cai Kang looked at him and seemed a little nervous. Because he could feel that he was no match for this man. I just want to ask you one question. Who is the mastermind behind this incident? Jiang Qianni did not answer his question, but spoke to him in an extremely cold tone. HMPH tilde, Cai Kang sneered, and it was obvious that he had no intention of answering. With a loud shout, he slashed towards Jiang Qianni with a dagger in hand, looking as if he was not going to die. Court death. Jiang Qianni sneered and also raised the dagger in his hand to meet the attack. Boom tilde. The 2 daggers collided violently, making a deafening noise. Jiang Qianni showed no mercy in this attack and used all his strength. Cai Kang's body suddenly exploded in the air like a bomb. Flesh and blood were scattered all over the ground, and the air was filled with a strong smell of blood. Tell me who is the mastermind behind this? Jiang Qianni turned his gaze to the few surviving beginner warriors. His eyes were red and his body was filled with murderous aura, which made people shudder. Several warriors looked at each other. In the end, like Ghost Hand, he chose to commit suicide. Swish, swish, swish tilde. However, this time Jiang Qianni was fully prepared. As soon as they moved their arms a little, several silver needles flew over and pierced their acupuncture points, and their entire limbs were frozen and unable to move. Suicide is no longer useful. Jiang Qianni walked over and said with a smile, "Tell me what you want to know, so that you won't suffer. Otherwise, I will let you know what it means to be unable to live or die." HMPH tilde, the warrior sneered and stared at Jiang Qianni with eyes full of despair. Be careful, there is poison in their mouths. At this moment, the mysterious man behind Jiang Qianni shouted. But it's too late. Before Jiang Qianni could react after she finished speaking, several warriors bit open the poison in their mouths and died in just 1 second. Fuck. Jiang Qianni cursed loudly and swung his arms fiercely. These people really made him unable to guard against them. An organization that could have these people must be strong. Turning to look at the mysterious man, Jiang Qianni asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine, thank you for what happened just now." "You don't have to thank me. If it weren't for you saving my 5th sister, I wouldn't bother with you." "And what happened yesterday, the person in the dark, wasn't it you?" If I don't take action, will you help them? You are amazing. I was hiding so secretly, but you still found me. Jiang Qianni curled his lips and smiled, and continued to ask, can you let me see your true face? No. The mysterious man rejected him flatly. Then do you know the origins of this group of people? Jiang Qianni continued to ask. Jiang Qianni, listen to my advice, go back and live a good life, don't get involved in this matter, okay? Jiang Qianni frowned instantly after hearing her words. How do you know my name? Do you know me? Don't ask any more. You'd better listen to me and quit as soon as possible. Don't cause trouble for yourself and your sister. It seems like you're not going to tell it anymore? Jiang Qianni's tone suddenly became gloomy, and his eyes looked at this mysterious man coldly, making her feel a little cold in her heart. What do you want to do? Since you don't want to talk, I can only use my own method to make you speak. Jiang Qianni said as he slowly walked towards her. Don't do anything reckless. I'm the one helping you. The mysterious man was very nervous and was forced to retreat step by Jiang Qianni. I don't even know who you are. Why should I believe that you are helping me or have some other purpose? Sure tilde. However, Jiang Qianni's words had just fallen. The mysterious man took advantage of his unpreparedness, and a flying knife appeared in his hand and threw it at him. Then, taking advantage of his opportunity to dodge, the mysterious man quickly disappeared from the spot. Looking at her leaving figure, Jiang Qianni shook his head helplessly, but did not chase after her. His intuition told him that this mysterious man had the same goal as him. He and this mysterious man would meet again soon. And this matter is not something that can be gotten rid of just like she said. Jiang Qianni had a premonition that once he got stuck in this matter, he would never be able to get out. Chapter 25 Sisters Support You. After the mysterious man left, Jiang Qianni found a house near the ambush circle of the gunmen. There, they found a man tied up. Although this man was dressed in a suit and tie, he looked a little disheveled. He is thin and wears glasses. The lens is very thick and I don't know how deep it is. Obviously, he is the scientist that the Yanlong Special Forces is looking for, Jing Fanghong. Soon, Jiang Qianni brought him to the agreed meeting place with Liu Feishue. The forest is surrounded by high mountains on the east and west sides. To the south is the border between Yanxia and Eagle Country. So if you want to go back, there is only one exit, which is the place where Jiang Qianni just came in. Fifth sister, I'm back. Oh my god, where did you come from? Can you give me some noise? Jiang Qianni's voice suddenly rang in Liu Feishue's ears, frightening her. Even though he was alone with someone, Jiang Qianni was still as fast as the wind and appeared in front of them like magic. Not only Liu Feishue, but even the Special Forces members behind her were frightened. If they hadn't reacted quickly, the bullets would have been fired at them. Huh? Professor Zhen? Qianni, you rescued him. Soon, Liu Feishue noticed Jing Fanghong, and her expression changed from shock to surprise. Yes. Jiang Qianni nodded. Let's go back. Yes. Qianni, thank you so much this time. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid all of us would have died here. Fifth sister, what are you talking about? This kidnapping is a big conspiracy against your Yanlong Special Forces. And I just said that I am not the only one helping you secretly. Who is this person then? Why would he help us? I don't know either. Jiang Qianni shook his head slightly. I just met her. She was the one who sneaked into your room last night. This? What on earth is going on? Liu Feishue widened her eyes in disbelief. Things were indeed a little beyond her expectations. I don't know. Jiang Qianni shook his head helplessly again. Fifth sister, I don't have any clues about the mastermind behind this, so you must be extra careful in your future actions. I understand, brother, don't worry. Liu Feishue said. Liu Feishue has also realized the seriousness of this matter. She needs to rush back to Kyoto and report this matter. Why did these people try every means to destroy the Yanlong Special Forces? It is very likely that they have some purpose against Yanxia country. Because in the eyes of outsiders, the Yanlong Special Forces almost represents the highest combat power of Yanxia country, so the mastermind behind this incident may not belong to Yanxia country. But these people don't know this. In addition to the Yanlong Special Forces, there is an even more mysterious force in Yanxia country. Even Liu Feishue had only heard of this army and had never actually seen it. Their terror is totally incomparable to that of the Flame Dragon Special Forces. Even Jiang Qianyi may not be their opponent. Equals 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 equals. After separating from Liu Feishue, they went to the airport and took a flight back to Kyoto first. Jiang Qianyi, on the other hand, drove his third sister's Porsche and once again drove back to the Magic City. Third sister, fourth sister, sisters, look what good things I brought back for you. When I got home, it was already past 9 in the morning. Jiang Qianyi walked back happily, carrying a sack on his shoulder, like a country man going to the city. You stinky little brother, you finally got a chance to sleep in, why are you yelling? Luo Qingwu came out of the bedroom, rubbing her hazy eyes, and said unhappily. Qianyi, let me see what you brought me. Chen Kasin also stood up from the sofa and walked over. Huh? Jiang Qianyi looked around and asked, where are the eldest sister, the second sister, and the fourth sister? My eldest sister has gone back to the capital to take a flight, my second sister is going to prepare for a concert, and my fourth sister has several appointments with patients today. Mu Ziying said, okay, brother, show us what gifts you brought. It seems that you are really sensible and know how to prepare gifts for your sister. Hey. Jiang Qianyi smiled mysteriously, put the sack on his shoulder on the ground, and slowly opened the bag. Our Tilda brother, what is this thing? Wow Tilda, you stinky little brother, what kind of crappy gift is this? When Jiang Qianyi's three sisters saw the things in the bag, they either screamed or retched, or screamed and retched at the same time. They even beat and scolded Jiang Qianyi. Because what was in the bag was the black bear that Jiang Qianyi killed last night. Such a big black bear cannot be wasted. So after separating from Liu Feishue, Jiang Qianyi went back to cut off the bear legs and paws and brought them back for his sisters to taste. Because it has not been processed. It looks bloody, smells bloody, and is covered in hair. It does look disgusting and scary. Third sister, sixth sister, eighth sister, these are bear legs and bear paws, they are all natural and harmless, others can't even get them if they want to eat them. Oh. After hearing this, Chen Kasin covered his nose and moved closer to take a closer look. Well, it does look like a bear. How did you get Qianyi? Don't ask me about that. Just tell me whether you want to eat it or not. If you think it's disgusting, I'll be happy. After all, this kind of thing can't be obtained just by getting it. Eat, why not? Luo Qingwu put her hands on her hips and said mischievously. Then I handed the bag of food to the cook and waited for a delicious whole bear feast at noon. Qianyi, someone is looking for you outside. After exchanging a few words with the sisters, a servant came in from outside. Looking for me? Who is it? It's Miss Su Yuqing from the Su family. What does she want to see me for? Let her come in. Yes. The servant nodded respectfully and walked out. Now, the servant's attitude towards Jiang Qianyi has changed 3,600 degrees. Because he is no longer the fool that everyone laughed at. But, the second owner of this house. After a while, Su Yuqing came in skipping from outside. There is always a smile on her face. I don't know if she won 5 million or fell in love with some handsome guy. The sisters are here too. Su Yuqing greeted Chen Kasin and the others, then turned their attention to Jiang Qianyi. Come on, didn't you say you're a good driver? I'll take you out for some fun. No. How dare you? Su Yuqing put her hands on her waist and glared, looking like a shrew. I'm waiting for you in the car. If I don't see you in 5 minutes, you're dead. This. Jiang Qianyi looked at Su Yuqing walking out with a swagger, feeling indescribably uncomfortable. Why was she threatening him? I turned around and looked at my sisters. Well, everyone just stood there holding back their smirks. Come on, brother. Eighth sister supports you. Yes, brother. Don't let me down. Young man, you are very lucky. Listening to the slightly strange but secretly sour words from the sisters, Jiang Qianyi finally understood what they were thinking. I tell you, I, Jiang Qianyi, would rather be a single dog in this life than be with this little beggar. Less than a minute and a half left. After hearing his words, Chen Kasin and the others did not react at all. I just raised my hand to look at my watch to remind him of the time. Oh my god. After hearing this, Jiang Qianyi cursed loudly. Take 2 of 3 steps at a time. Ran out of the house with big strides. Chapter 26 Rally Car. Yes, exactly 5 minutes. Looking at the watch, Su Yuqing nodded with satisfaction. You little beggar, what on earth are you taking me to do? Didn't you tell me yesterday that your driving skills are almost as good as yours? How about we go and compete with each other today? TSK Tilder just you. Jiang Qianni glanced at her with disdain. It's good enough that you don't kill anyone, and you still want to compete. Who are you looking down on? This time the competition venue is empty and on the mountain. On the mountain? Rally car. Jiang Qianni frowned. Yeah. Why? Are you scared? Scared? There's no such word in my dictionary. I'm just wondering, how can a girl like you like such a thrilling game? So what? I'm not the only girl in our Magic City Racing Association. Really? Then I have to behave well, maybe I can take one or two away. TSK, you should be thankful that you don't take yourself away. Su Yuqing rolled her eyes at him with disdain. Their racetracks are all steep mountain roads with countless extreme turns. If you are not careful, you may fall off the cliff and get seriously injured. And these are exactly what these second-generation rich boys and girls like the most. Having had enough of the dull and wealthy life, of course I like to seek some thrilling and exciting projects. This is also the purpose of establishing the Magic City Racing Association. The entire association consists of only about 20 people, all of whom are the second generation of rich people or the second generation of managers from families in the Magic City. The person who founded this association is Zhu Pinyang, the young master of the Zhu family, who is listed as one of the three giants in Magic City along with the Su family and the Song family. Not long after, Su Yuqing drove her pink Ferrari to the gate of the Magic City Racing Association. After showing a membership card, he was let in by the bodyguard at the door. Hey, isn't this our Miss Su? What? Do you want to come and play today too? As soon as I parked the car in the parking lot, a sturdy male beast with a lewd face came over flatteringly. He was the president of this place, Zhu Pinyang. Yes, bring my friend over to play. Su Yuqing said, and got out of the car with Jiang Qianni. Oh my god. Isn't this Jiang Qianni? Yuqing, how did you become friends with him? Seeing that it was Jiang Qianni, Zhu Pinyang's face was immediately filled with a humiliating smile. Yeah, what's wrong? It's okay, it's okay. Zhu Pinyang smiled and shook his head, looking at Jiang Qianni and said, do you want to race a rally car too? Why? No way. Har har, of course. Zhu Pinyang laughed twice. A fool is a fool. He wants to participate in this kind of mountain rally without knowing anything. He is really courting death. By the way, are you alone today? Su Yuqing looked around and interrupted. Of course not. Jue, Yingying and the others are here. They are over there on the track. I'll take you there. Okay. Su Yuqing nodded, and walked in side by side with Jiang Qianni. Moreover, they were talking and laughing along the way, and Zhu Pinyang felt like an outsider, and she looked at Jiang Qianni with anger. He had been chasing Su Yuqing for who knows how long, but now he was defeated by such a fool. One can imagine how angry he was. After walking out of the parking lot and passing through a lounge, we arrived at the official track. There were 2 cars racing on the track at this time. The buzzing sound of the motor, the gusts of sand kicked up by the rear of the car, and the thrilling and beautiful turns make people feel excited and passionate, and they can't wait to drive a lap themselves. Outside the venue, there was a group of young men and women standing, cheering for their favorite drivers. How is it, Jiang Qianni? It's exciting, right? Do you want to go and have some fun? Zhu Pinyang smiled sinisterly beside Jiang Qianni. Now he was extremely jealous of Jiang Qianni. Now is a perfect opportunity to take advantage of this. He doesn't know how to do anything on this extreme mountain road. If he falls down, he will be seriously injured if he doesn't die. Okay. Jiang Qianni nodded, looked at Su Yuqing and said, let's go and compete. Don't cry if you lose. I'm going to Jiang Qianni, you really have to go and open it. Su Yuqing screamed in disbelief. The purpose of her bringing Jiang Qianni here was just to let him see what a master was, and she never wanted him to really go up. Even she didn't dare to drive too fast on this kind of track. Jiang Qianni had no rally experience, and it was very likely that the car would be destroyed and people would die. What's wrong? Isn't the purpose of you calling me here today to compete? You're not scared, are you? Jiang Qianni shrugged indifferently and said. Okay Jiang Qianni, how about I compete with you? At this time, Zhu Pinyang came up and put his arm around Jiang Chenyi's shoulders. You? Can you do it? Jiang Chenyi looked him up and down and said. Don't worry, I'm the best here. The record of 45 minutes and 6 seconds is held by me. Zhu Pinyang had an evil smile on his face from beginning to end. Even if this idiot doesn't get killed in a car accident, seeing his frightened expression or his turtle-like speed on the track is still a good form of entertainment. It's a free skit, you'd be ashamed not to watch it. In Zhu Pinyang's mind, he seemed to have seen Jiang Chenyi's appearance on the track in a while. Okay, then it's you. Jiang Chenyi nodded and walked over with him. He knows better than anyone what bad shit this guy is holding back. But he knew better who would be slapped in the face soon. Jiang Chenyi, you can't go. Seeing this, Su Yuqing hurriedly chased after him. Although Jiang Chenyi is an annoying person, he saved her life after all. Now she even felt a little regretful. Why did she bring this guy to such a place? It would be a sin if he pretended to be cool and then lost his life. If you don't play with me, what's wrong with Brother Pinyang playing with me? Are you jealous? Jiang Chenyi said foolishly. He looked like a fool. Just like that, the three of them played and joked all their way until they came in front of the people watching the game, and this was also the starting point of the game. Jiang Chenyi? This. When the others saw Jiang Chenyi, they all turned their eyes to Zhu Pinyang and Su Yuqing. Yes, Jiang Chenyi wants to have a rally race with me. Zhu Pinyang nodded calmly. Damn it, this idiot is competing with Brother Yan? Isn't this courting death? That's right, a fool is a fool. Don't look down on me. Maybe I really beat Brother Yan? Har har tilde. After hearing Zhu Pinyang's words, everyone present laughed. None of these men and women had any sympathy, and no one came out to dissuade them like Su Yuqing did. They all looked disdainful and ready to laugh at the joke. They want to see what this big fool of a demon can do to make them laugh out loud. Chapter 27: A Surprising Operation. People are so cold-hearted. Looking at the mocking faces of these rich second generations, Jiang Chenyi shook his head helplessly. He turned around and said to Zhu Pinyang, Brother Pinyang, since it's a competition, wouldn't it be too boring without any stakes? Oh? What do you want to bet on? Zhu Pinyang grinned immediately after hearing this. He is really stupid to the core. Jiang Chenyi held his chin and pretended to think for a while. How about a bet of 100 million? Fuck, 100 million, can you afford it? Here is a credit card my third sister gave me, which allows unlimited overdrafts. As Jiang Chenyi spoke, he took out the Modu Bank black card that Chen Kasin had given him. Oh my god. Zhu Pinyang rubbed his eyes in disbelief, it was indeed true. The Zhu family also had this black card, which was not only a symbol of wealth, but also a symbol of status. So his father refused to give him this card. Who would have thought that Chen Kasin would actually give this credit card to this fool? What a waste of such a precious black card. Rolling his eyes, Zhu Pinyang said, in that case, why don't we bet a bigger amount? How about 1 billion? Okay, I promise you, 1 billion. Without thinking twice, Jiang Chenyi agreed. That's settled then. Zhu Pinyang was already laughing in his heart at this time. God must have seen that he was short of money recently, so he sent a fool to give him money. Anyway, the card can be overdrawn unlimitedly, so who else should we rip off if not him? Jiang Chenyi, you are such a fool. At this time, Su Yuqing shouted from the side. Zhu Pinyang was clearly trying to rip him off, but this guy was so stupid as to agree to it. It doesn't matter if you lose money, but what if you lose your life? You have to know that Jiang Chenyi was brought up by her. If something happens, how will she explain to Chen Kasin and the others when she goes back? Don't worry, I have a plan. Jiang Chenyi patted her shoulder and gave her a firm and confident smile. At the same time, it also made Su Yuqing calm down instantly. Watching his back as he and Zhu Pinyang walked towards the track, Su Yuqing was stunned. She suddenly had a feeling that Jiang Chenyi's words were credible and he might really be able to win the game. This feeling was very subtle, and even she didn't know why. Was it an illusion? Or did she really trust Jiang Chenyi from the bottom of her heart? At this time, the game just ended. 2 modified rally cars have been placed at the starting point. Of course, the racing car was modified by Zhu Pinyang himself and has been with him for 5 years. Jiang Chenyi, on the other hand, used Su Yuqing's racing car. The main color of this racing car is pink, and as a grown man, he does seem a bit out of place. Sitting in the car, Jiang Qianni looked at everything in the car as if he was unfamiliar with it. How is it? Are you ready? Zhu Pinyang walked over and asked. Wait. Jiang Qianni said quickly, well, let me ask you a question. Is it the accelerator on the left and the brake on the right? Or is it the brake on the left and the accelerator on the right? Dizzy Tilder. Zhu Pinyang almost fell backwards after hearing this. This guy is really stupid. He doesn't even know how to use the accelerator or brake, and he still dares to participate in a rally. Left brake, right accelerator, got it. I understand. Jiang Qianni nodded with a silly smile. Huh? Why is there a pedal on the far left? What is this? This is called the clutch. You have to press the clutch when shifting gears, otherwise the car will stall. Do you understand? For the sake of the 10 billion, Zhu Pinyang patiently explained everything to him. He felt that when he was with Jiang Qianni, his IQ was lowered. So that's how it is. I get it, get in the car, let's get started. Jiang Qianni continued to speak with a silly smile, but no one noticed that behind his silly smile, hidden was insidiousness and disdain. You don't even know how to brake or clutch, it's obvious that you're just throwing money away. It would be fine if I gave money, but I'm afraid I'd lose my life. Alas, from now on, I'm afraid we'll have to find someone else to take over the position of Demon Capital's great fool. Hey, Jiwei, why don't you take over this title? Get out of here. Die as far away as you can. Watching the others' playful ridicule and humiliation, Su Yuqing stood aside without saying a word. She really couldn't figure out what Jiang Qianni was going to do. She was worried and couldn't let go. Yuqing, what's wrong? Are you worried about that idiot? At this time, a little girl walked out of the crowd. Although she was not as stunningly beautiful as Su Yuqing, she was also a rare beauty. After all, the daughters of those big families would not be too bad looking. Yeah. Su Yuqing nodded slightly but didn't say anything. Oh, could it be that our Yuqing has fallen in love with Jiang Qianni? If this gets out, the magic city will explode tomorrow. Xiao Yu, shut up. Unless I, Su Yuqing, am blind, I will never fall in love with such a bastard. Then why are you so worried? From what I can see, you must be in trouble. Jing Yu folded her hands over her chest and said, they haven't set off yet. It's probably not too late for you to stop them. Why should I stop him? If he wants to give money or die, just let him go. It's none of my business. Su Yuqing pretended to be indifferent and went straight to sit on a stool beside her. TSK. You say one thing and mean another. Jing Yu said, and walked over and sat beside her to watch the game. She can be said to be Su Yuqing's best friend. She can tell what's wrong with Su Yuqing at a glance. So she didn't believe what Su Yuqing said just now. And at this time, at the starting line, Jiang Qianni was already prepared, wearing his helmet and safety belt as required. He turned around and gave Zhu Pinyang a thumbs up. Zhu Pinyang looked at him and did the same thing. Looking at the countdown on the big screen, Zhu Pinyang smiled disdainfully. This was probably the easiest game he had ever had. Buzz Tilder. When there were about 5 seconds left in the countdown, Jiang Qianni's racing car made a buzzing sound. I don't know what stupid thing this guy is doing. Zhu Pinyang looked at Jiang Qianni in the car and shook his head in disdain. 3, 2, 1. Buzz Tilder. However, in the last second of the countdown, everyone's disdainful smiles froze. The expression on his face was surprise and disbelief. With a loud roar from Jiang Qianni's racing car engine, the rear tire produced a slight spark, and the whole car rushed out in an instant like a wild horse that had broken free from its reins and disappeared on the spot. Launch start. The highest level of starting for professional racing drivers. Although Zhu Pinyang also started with a catapulting movement, compared to Jiang Qianni, he was just an amateur-level loser, and I don't know how much slower he was. So just after the starting stage, Jiang Qianni had already left Zhu Pinyang far behind.